All right, we're live. So this is the Veil Cascade second session in the Saturday evening time slot. Hopefully people aren't too tired. Let's see. I'll just pop the YouTube link into Discord.
The world will be judging us, so
yeah, whatever.
No pressure.
We got
no
this.
pressure.
We tell the story that we want, right? So
we do what we want. So.
Yeah. So last time I built things from scratch. I think this time I'm going to try a pre-done scenario, especially since this will be my fourth game today. And we'll do the one that we can do either one, actually. I know both of them quite well, but we could either do the one that I wrote for the Gauntlet Solus, where it is essentially the onomastics. The last onomastic is killed, and it's in a sort of weird Middle Eastern-ish town desert with like a nanostorm that has glowing eyes and shit in it. Or we could do a sort of murder mystery one where it is a inverted tiered city where it's called the green zone because everything at the bottom is completely whatchamacallit, cultivated to allow for natural growth. So it's sort of like a biopunkish thing going on where the most high up in the hierarchy live in the very low nethers, and artists and people who work on cybernetics and augmentations and stuff like that live down there. And then the higher up you are in this tiered city, the lower class you are. And the veil actually blocks your eyes from actually even being able to see what happens down below, so you don't even know that there is like this greenery and stuff down there. And there's a massive corporation at the center of it that's like a tiered tower that looks down on everything, of course, called Foresight. Which do you guys prefer?
I kind of want to do both. I mean, I feel like...
Well, I guess I did my job.
I mean, this is Gauntlet Con, so I feel like we should do the Gauntlet one. But you said Jeremy, I think, had played before, or Steve?
Steve had played before, but we completely rebuilt, built from the ground up a new thing and played it.
Okay. So both these are fresh.
Yeah.
What does everyone else
think? I was having some audio trouble through most of the descriptions, so I'm going to smile and go along with whatever decides.
Nice, okay.
I think the second, I mean, I like them both, but the second one has some cool ideas just jumping out at me. I don't know if anyone had any preferences, but.
And Steve?
I don't have a strong preference. I would suggest that we go with whatever is easiest for you, or if anyone has seen something cyberpunk or read something cyberpunk recently that they'd like that's similar to one of those two scenarios, then we should go with that.
Sure.
All right, so let's go with let's go with second option, where we can't even see what's underneath us. As far as we know, our building floor is the only one that exists.
yeah, sounds good. Let's see. Let me pull that up. Okay, so as you guys are creating characters, bear a couple things in mind. Instead of in the Veil proper, there is beliefs. Instead, on this one, there's questions. Most likely, you're not going to be able to answer all of them, so I would suggest just making one in particular that you want to inject in the fiction to see. And probably wait until I've sort of laid it out in front of you. Okay. For moves, don't bother picking moves. You guys will have 2 or 3 to choose from, but as we're going through this scenario, just invoke the move as you see fit and just have that ceiling in place. So if you have something that you want to trigger at any given time, just trigger it. Okay? What else
Cool.
is there?
What playbooks are left?
Oh, yeah. I know Jonathan took Pneumologist.
Yeah.
And what did everybody else go for?
I see telepresence.
Yeah.
How about you, Farrell?
I was looking at the detonation. That looked interesting since it's really focusing on what is behind the veil, which this sounds like it'll be very good working with the scenario we're thinking about playing.
Okay, then I think I'll go with a percipient.
Cool. Alrighty, that works. And everybody can edit their character sheets, by the way. I made them correctly, hopefully. For
Are they character sheets in Roll20?
Yeah, if you click on the third tab and characters, I just named them player 1, 2, 3, 4, and they all should be editable for you guys.
Can you give me the link?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, because I joined later. It's not in the chat for me.
Yeah. There you go.
Is one of us already sort of designated as 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or are we just filling them out?
You guys just pick, claim it by clicking on it and then just hitting edit and then renaming it to.
Right. I'll still player 3 then.
Okay.
Right.
And has everyone gamed with the Gauntlet? Well, I'll just go through it anyway. So in these games, we have the X card. If you guys know what that is, it's a tool so that if we ever hit any problematic content that you do not want in the game, you can just go like this, X card, or type to me, or whatever you feel like doing, and we'll go back, we'll edit the content and adjust it, or just simply skip the scene or whatever you need. There's an open door policy, so you can just get up and leave if you like. I will say if you do that and you're leaving for the entire game, maybe just give me a heads up. But if not, that is okay as well. Oh, that just happened. Jeremy's gone. I feel like I got X-carded already. Hey, Jeremy, welcome back. Are you there? Oh,
It sounded like he was having some bandwidth problems, so...
Yeah, try turning down your bandwidth, maybe, Jeremy. Oh, never mind. Is he typing?
I just saw a chat thing pop up.
Oh, be right back. Okay. Oh, he restarted his computer or something. Yeah. Does anyone have any problematic content that they don't want in? I think Steve's and I's are usually pretty in line with no rape and no violence towards children. Anything else?
Seems fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, some basic standards. I guess if we do get into like the nitty gritty of like someone's being hurt or tortured or whatever, if that actually comes up, like don't
Check in.
Yeah, check in or don't focus on it. Like,
Yeah.
I've read my fair share of books, seen my share of movies, but if you start like lingering on the small details for 3 or 4 minutes, I'm gonna probably not be happy.
Yeah, sounds good. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go into that. Okay, cool. Let's see, maybe hopefully he'll be back soon because I was gonna go over some more setting detail stuff.
And you said the character sheets, just edit them since the Cascade moves aren't in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are names? I guess I should wait a little bit. I was going to ask, what are names like in this society? Is it, Ice Nine, or is it Gerald the janitor? What kind of names are in this world?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I just made up something. I've got the book of names, and I just kind of flipped through it and said, "Oh, look, Celtic names. That sounds cool." So I could put some stuff in for that. I think it would be eclectic.
Yeah, definitely. I usually try to inject that into all cyberpunk cities. As it is a city that exists in the future that usually has like a grounding in a physical city that we know of, but is not named in that way, so that cultures and everything have mingled. It's assumed that you guys speak in a language that is sort of amalgamation of different languages. You have shorthand slang set up. You guys have neurochips implanted in your heads, which make it so that you guys can directly communicate to each other versus via text message, things like that. Oh, Jeremy, you're back. Hello.
Hey, I can actually understand. I was dealing with real life cyberpunk issues there with my network.
Do you know about the lowering bandwidth thing at the top of the screen there?
Yeah, I tried it and it still cratered right out, but it seems to be working now.
Okay, great. Did you hear about the X card and know about it?
I did. Yep.
Okay, great. And do you have any specific things that you don't want to see in the game other than rape, violence to children, as well as not focusing on really graphic pain, basically?
Yeah.
Like torture.
Yeah. I'm good with just calling for like a end of the scene if I'm getting uncomfortable.
Definitely, yeah. Just let me know, like, hey, maybe we fade to black here, and we'll go.
Yep.
For sure. That sounds great. Let's see. So, also, the way in which this is cyberpunk, other than the tiered stratification of class here, is you guys are what are called glitches in the system, which means that you actually existed in a previous lifetime, and your memory and your thoughts and everything that make you a person was downloaded onto a neurochip. And now 50 years or 100 years later or whatever, you are downloaded into a completely new human body. It can be synthetic. It can be human body, whatever you like. But the main thing here is that with that process, it was imperfect and you're missing memories. So that's why there's the questions there. And with those missing memories, there's a flashback move that's different than the veil, in which at any given time, like if you do a move and then you have an idea for a flashback that answers one of your questions, you can piggyback on that move, or you can use the flashback move as a completely separate mechanic to have a flashback about the question. So the questions, generally I have them about each other, and then I have one about the world that you want answered, and then something that is tangible right in front of you that you want to solve this session. In a con game like this, it's a little bit harder to do. Even obligation, or formerly known as Giri, is hard to do as well, because generally it never really gets touched on it in a con session anyway. So I'm thinking, why don't I lay out sort of the opening scene, and then you guys can make a question about it that you want answered in it, and we'll try to hit on that.
Okay.
Let's see. So just know that other than class, you guys are sort of like when people call you a glitch, it's like a derogatory term, right? Like they don't trust you in this society because they know that something's wrong with you and you're missing memories. I don't think we'll hit on that too much. I'm going to have you guys all be together and doing something pretty specific fairly soon anyway. But it's something to keep in mind when you're framing up your own scenes and vignettes and stuff like that. Let's see. So this place is called Prudence, the city, and it's called the Green Zone as a sort of maybe like a culturally derogatory thing from the outside, and because the city is obsessed with greenery. Even in your tiered cities, it is required of you to have green space, and it is enforced by Foresight, which is the mega corporation in the center that towers over everything and watches you. And there are drones that hum around and make sure that you guys are not using banned technology, which is anything that would harm the environment. So like disposable cell phones and anything that causes damage to the environment whatsoever would be banned and be black market. So you could still possess it, but if you ran into the authorities, it would give you problems. Okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's a good enough overview. I'll wait until you guys are good for your playbooks. And let's see if I've forgotten anything. Same thing with gear and cybernetics. Let's have you guys just invoke it when you need it in the fiction. So if you were like, you want to check something out and you're like, oh man, cybernetic eye with magnification would really come in handy now, you just have it and we'll just go with it in the fiction. Same with gear. Instead of choosing something, if you really want something in the moment, then just say that you have it and we'll just keep rolling with it, just so you guys get a lot of screen time in the one-shot hour or 3 hours. But yeah, does that sound good?
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
So just essentially you'll just need to solidify your look, your name, and for some of you, your options on your playbook to flesh out everything. And if you need help doing that, then by all means pose it to me in the table and we'll figure out how it fits into the world and whatnot.
Okay.
So we have a pneumologist, a denotation, a telepresence, right? And what was the last one again? A percipient, right?
Yeah, percipient.
Cool. Yeah, I think that will work out well. Also, has anyone read Altered Carbon before?
I haven't, but I know that it's an influential one in this game.
Yeah.
That's Gibson, isn't it?
No, that's Richard K. Morgan.
Oh, okay.
It's actually going to be on Netflix next year.
Huh. I guess I should read the book first.
Yeah, maybe. Apparently, they were saying that it's the most expensive TV show that will ever have been made, so maybe they're doing it justice. Yeah. Altered Carbon's my main baseline for Cyberpunk instead of Gibson, and he did it a lot better than Gibson usually did in his first try anyway. But it was also 20 years later, so one would hope.
Yeah.
So I have to admit that I'd forgotten how much I loved Cyberpunk until this, I guess, triad of Cyberpunk powered by the Apocalypse games came out. Your Veil, and then the Sprawl and Headspace. And I think the first one I played in, I started Googling around and hit Pinterest stuff, and I was like, oh, I love this so much. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have a board that is like the longest thing in the world. I have a separate Cascade one, and then I have like a Veil one, and it's forever. It's great for inspiration.
Have you read Transmetropolitan?
Oh yeah. Only the first 3 or 4 though. I'm still making my way through it, but I have it.
So good. There's some themes that come into it later. I think you'd mentioned before that you have a reading list.
Yeah.
Have you shared that?
I shared it on the Veil community as an Appendix N thing, but I'm also going to put it in Cascade as well because a lot of people ask about it. So I think it would be good. Plus, it just got bigger because the touchstones for Cascade playbooks are also media touchstones. Like the denotation is an anime called Denu Coil. The percipient is literally altered carbon.
Okay.
Like that's the thing. Pneumologist is Strange Days. Yeah, fair enough.
I always appreciate that reading inspired media list because I came from Gibson's cyberpunk, so I've like been looking at this and I'm still trying to wrap my head around a couple things. As we go along, I'm going to get it, I'm sure, but it's been like, what is this? I'm so used to. I'm used to like my, my Blade Runner, my Shadowrun style, and this is like, what is this? This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is very post-cyberpunk, where it's mostly inspired by stuff written after it was dead or after that critically struggles against cyberpunk. Like, basically, people who are like, I don't like this about cyberpunk, I still want to write in the genre, but I think it should go this way.
Yeah.
Viva
I just
la
finished reading... Sorry, go.
Viva la Renaissance.
Yeah, exactly.
I just finished reading The Wind-Up Girl. Is that?
Oh yeah, Bagaloopy is very good. I always have to say it very slowly.
So, Fraser, you mentioned filling out things on the sheet. I see that the recipient has a mission. Is that something I should fill out and we should talk about?
So the overall overarching thing that is going down is that I'm going to have you guys commissioned one way or another or tied to a murder that you're going to be solving, or it's a very open-ended start, so it might even turn out that maybe one of you guys are the murderer even, right? But you'll be tasked in order to solve this murder initially, especially the percipient, I think. So if you want the mission to coincide something like that, even the person that's commissioning it could be something like a corporation that exists. Perhaps you even were brought back by Foresight, the corporation in this place, in order to specifically do this mission even.
Okay.
Oh, Jeremy's gone again. Oh man.
Oh, there you go. I have was it the store?
So one thing I hope is clear about that is I refer to it as the store just so that mechanically we're always saying the same thing, but it can be named whatever you like.
Yeah, I was looking at it earlier today, so I came up with some ideas.
Oh yeah, hit me. Let's go.
So I'm calling it, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it, but the saudade, like the Portuguese word for like the blues or nostalgia kind of.
Awesome.
Which I think is sort of fitting. I kind of envision my character as Edward James Olmos kind of.
Awesome.
Yeah, he runs this memory store, and it's filled with this sense of that like nostalgic longing. It's you go here to remember things that maybe you didn't experience, but that you wish you could have, or it has that sense of like melancholy in there. Excellent. So I have a couple things like the music is playing a lot of that one, lots of art. I feel like you're not allowed to have alcohol or drugs here. He says a lot that like the drug is the memories. Are the memories. People can like sleep, like have sex here if they like. I imagine like the augmented reality is sort of like to remember someone that's gone that way. So it's the sort of like artistic, but that's saying that sort of sad melancholy over everything. I think I picked, people called it like intimate, nostalgic, sensual, and haunted. And I think haunted, not in the sense of like ghosts per se, but in the more like, this is a haunting place that people aren't going to stop being able to think about after they leave.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So it's like a feedback loop where you deliberately withhold catharsis, so they have to come back to keep experiencing it, essentially, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
So I picked sad as my +2 stat. That's kind of
Nice.
the moodies I'm going for here.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, geez. Hopefully Jeremy's okay here. He said he's going to try one more thing, and if not, then he'll have to bow out.
Okay.
And how's the telepresence coming along? Is that Farrell?
No, I am the denotation.
Oh yeah. How's that coming along, Ben?
I've just finished doing gear. Don't know how well this is going to do. I think I've named the character Plato -1.
Okay, cool. I dig it.
Because the denotation's jam seems to be about what is the actual reality, not so much what is the veil showing me, but what is the actual thing. And so I'm looking at it and going, all right, Plato's allegory of the cave is what popped into my head.
Okay.
Because that would be the veil. The veil is the image on the cave wall as opposed to what's actually outside. And someone's just changing that around. And so, like my jam is this guy, why has he noticed this besides, his obvious damage? He's a janitorial cleanup. He, like anything, like, busted pipe, this bathroom's out of order. Vale just like makes it so the bathroom door doesn't exist. But I still have to see it because I got to get in there and fix it. And so that's let me into a lot of places that, I get to see them when they aren't working, when they aren't functioning, which is not something most people know or even want to see, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, what's your implement then? What did you choose for that?
This is going to sound a little silly, but
it could be anything. Like last time, Steve and I had a sculpture, and he made it work to great effect, I thought.
It's stickers.
Oh, awesome.
And I took the idea because, like, whenever in the Gauntlet we, throw a dream, we always use those terrible Lisa Frank images. So they're just like these bright Lisa Frank style stickers that it's just
go ahead. I'm wondering, is it like is it sort of like Minority Report stickers where you like put it on it and then you can interact with the sticker and it becomes like an interface? Or is it like a code that you have already planted on the sticker and you just throw it at it and it like implements that code?
Like it's a sticker that I can interact with,
okay, but
I have to like physically apply it. And it's that, and I don't even think it like affects it all around, but if you're nearby, it throws up a new AR on top of whatever it is. So it's kind of like, oh, your Wi-Fi, it's, everyone's Veil connects to the nearest signal. This is now the new strongest signal in this local area.
Okay. Oh, Jeremy, hey, welcome back.
Try this one more time. If I get booted again, I will bow out. I'm really sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no problems. Actually, I would suggest, Jeremy, if you're having problems with bandwidth, can you try and turn off your video and just go to audio?
Yeah, I have actually, and I'm still getting this delay in it, which is weird. My game yesterday was fine. I had no trouble with it, and I was in HD the whole time. So I've just tried kicking myself off my network and then joining back on. So we'll see if that fixes it.
It could be just a server thing, because I started the call and I'm in Canada, so maybe it's just like a
I'm in northern Canada. I'm further north than you are.
Oh, well, okay, well, I don't know.
Jeremy, where are you?
I'm in Yellowknife.
Okay.
Oh. Well, hopefully it ends up okay.
Yep.
Turl, I assume you're in Houston, is that right? Farrell, you're in Houston?
Yep.
And I'm in Austin. Jonathan, where are you?
I'm in Maryland.
Ah, nice.
Oh, cool. I almost had you guys outnumbered. For once. Okay, how far along are you, Jeremy, at the character? Because you must have had to been dealing with your issues first, right?
Yeah, but since we're not picking out a lot of the details, I think I've got everything I need done.
Okay, like you've got your your slotted stuff figured out when you
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
okay.
pick my wired yet. Okay. So yeah, I've got everything pretty much done. Do you want me to go through it?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. We'll start with you, and then we'll introduce the others.
Okay, so I'm going with the telepresence. The name he's going to run under is Optic. He's got fluid for his gender, so it changes all the time. He wears smartwear. He's got a credible face, faceted eyes. He's downloaded into this body that was originally like a corporate issue, but he's got it all sort of like pierced and tattooed and basically customized to his own fit.
Mm-hmm.
And then for states, I took -1 mad, +1 peaceful, 0 sad, 2 joyful, 1 scared, and -1 powerful.
Okay.
And that's because he's got, for his slotted, he's got one specific emotion that has been limited by his suppressor. So the corporation doesn't like him feeling powerful.
That makes sense.
And for the beat, that's like what they normally cover. I wasn't quite sure about that. So his original day job, or the reason he was brought back, was as like a conduit. So he would kind of go experience like concerts or theme parks, that sort of thing. So his beat is entertainment.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
And his wired ability is that he's got imagination. So he's kind of transgressing against foresight and putting his own ideas out into people's minds, which I'm sure won't cause any trouble for him whatsoever.
Probably not. Should be fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Who wants to go next? Also, for where, when we start framing up scenes, I run it very much like a movie. So when it comes to your turn to do a vignette or a scene, keep in mind your where, and then usually kind of like reintroduce your character through the eyes of the movie. So say like exactly what they're wearing and what we see as an audience and stuff like that. Okay.
Yep.
Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Cool.
Let me pull up what I have here. So I am Raphael. He is the pneumologist. Masculine look, vintage wear, sort of like an old peacoat. Kind of a scarred face. I have one-eyed, so he has a cybernetic eye. So I couldn't resist.
Okay.
Says dominant body, kind of like the aging football player body. He's we I guess now call him maybe Latino. I'm using Edward James Olmos as my sort of version of him.
A young one, or
like Battlestar Galactica era.
Okay.
So like not, older, but
not to be fucked with.
Yeah. He's definitely seen some things, even in his newer life.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I have +2 with sad, +1 with peaceful and powerful, 0 with mad and joyful, and -1 at scared. He's not used to being scared, so when he is, he doesn't handle it well.
I see.
And yeah, so I talked before about Soldada, his store. I think that's everything that's on here. But
okay.
So he likes giving people memories. Maybe they're memories of things that they shouldn't know, based on their status here.
That should be perfect. Anyone want to go next?
Okay, I'll go. So I'm playing Siobhan Dagda, I believe is her last name. The Percipient. Femme, wearing tactical wear, but not overtly. It's just sort of like a militarized punk kind of outfit that kind of would pass on the street, but someone in the know would know this is tactical wear. Kind of a sharp face. I have a image in the Roll20. Appraising eyes, compact body, Caucasian. She, her. I'm angry and powerful and joyful and not very peaceful.
Okay.
I have basically, I was awakened for a specific purpose, and I have an idea about what that purpose is. I might not have full memories about what's going on.
Okay.
I've narrowed that down. Either I was brought back to protect the victim of the murder, depending on how the situation goes, or to relay an important message in the future. And I don't know. We'll see how that goes during play.
For sure.
And I imagine I have a cybernetic eye. I think I probably have like implanted blades in my arm.
Nice.
So, yep.
Sick. Cool.
I missed a bit of the planning bit about the murder that happened that kind of sets the whole thing off.
We haven't done that yet. I just
Okay.
let you guys know that that's going to be the overarching thing, just so when you're planning, you can kind of steer into that.
Cool. I was going to suggest maybe Optic could be a witness to it.
Oh, sure.
And shoot it out over the stream. I think that could be kind of a cool way to get it out into the world.
Okay. Did everybody introduce their characters? Did Optic go? Yeah?
Yeah, I went first.
Oh, yeah, okay. Cool. Oh, yeah.
Plato -1.
Yeah. Later went through mine, I think, a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I can go through it again.
So I was just checking to make sure everybody's.
Yeah, we went. I don't know if Jeremy was there for that.
I heard Plato -1.
Yeah, maybe just a quick brush up.
Yeah. Plato was like main role was like, someone's got to clean the toilets, take out the trash still, no matter what type of future you're in, and it's not like anyone else is going to do it. So they just yank someone who was stuck in a chip. Gave me a very esoteric body. Like I am designed like not to stand out in this tower. Like everyone's veil. Like I'm there so you don't bump into me, but it's like you just look over me. I'm not fashionable. I'm very like my clothing's pragmatic. My face has no redeeming features. It's this modeled, skin product that they put on there. My eyes are like the basic grade. They did not splurge at all on me when they put me in this body.
Okay, you're like the Matt Damon of the future. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from that 10-pack you buy at Future Sam's.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
And my implement apparently is Lisa Frank stickers that I use to basically override the local network.
Cool. Okay, let's dive in then. So, I think it will be neat if not everybody. I think everyone can decide how they come about this information. I think directly the percipient will be in the scene, and then everyone else can just be invited and just be there if they want to be. Because when you learn the following information, you'll see. You can tell me how you think it would be most interesting that you came by it, essentially. So first, as we go through the city, I've kind of given you a wide, like in brushstrokes, what it kind of looks like. But I want to know from each of you one of these questions. What ads do you guys see custom tailored to yourselves as you're wandering through the street? So think of yourselves as like, let's think of this as the Veil credits come up. we're going through the city, and Ghost in the Shell style, we're seeing like bits of the city put together for the audience, right? So we're internalizing what this world is like through these visual things. And I think ads are a major part of it. You get thought casted them, kind of like in the new Ghost in the Shell trailer. Do you know the ones with like she's walking down the street and there's all these holograms essentially that are coming at her, and there's all these advertisements and stuff like that. So what ads you see custom tailored to you while wandering the streets? How can we tell that this city is existing in the future? So what future technologies are there? What do your I think I mentioned your bodies are called slacks. So similar to Altered Carbon, where they're sleeves, similar thing, except it's like a colloquial term for a body that isn't born, essentially, that you're in. So how do we know what the difference in slacks are from one another? So what do slacks look like? How do the best ones differ from others that are lower grade? We kind of already got a little about that with Optic, I think, right? But if anyone else has any other ideas, and what is the punishment for breaking the law, specifically ban tech, or what have you heard the punishment is? So you guys can ponder that, and let's take 5 minutes because I have to go to the washroom, and just pick one of those or more to answer, and then we'll pop back and we'll continue on. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Back in 5.
All right. Welcome back.
Ooh, ready to roll.
All right. So does anyone have an answer to one of the questions?
I think I know what the punishment is. We were talking earlier about how people live on levels.
Mm-hmm.
I think like it's not just you get bumped back up a level.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's you get bumped back up a level, and you have to be branded. Like everyone knows that you tried to rise above your station.
And what
Or
is
rise
that?
below your station, as it were.
As
Yeah.
it is.
So what is this brand? Is it like the Foresight Corporation brand, or what? Something specific to that punishment?
Someone else, feel free to throw this in. I just like the idea that they're branded somehow.
Okay.
So
Could
that
it be
we
a
know.
brand that exists only in the Veil? Like anyone that looks at them will see some sort of symbol or image or something plays on them, or their color, like there's a saturation or something that.
It could even be like that Black Mirror episode with the social episode where if you get banned by other people, they can't even see you. It's just like a black and white
Oh,
person,
yeah.
and they can't hear what you're saying or anything like that. I don't know if that's too harsh, but
Maybe depending on the egregiousness of your crime that time, or it stops you from doing certain things. But
I've got it. They cannot display the color green on their avatar.
okay, no
Because-
green for you.
Yeah, because green is like the biggest thing, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest punishment. You can't display green, and it's very obvious.
Cool. Okay, what else is there?
I had an answer to something about the determining the bodies or the different types of slacks.
Sure.
I think given that my character is visibly is older and more weathered, I
Mhm.
think that I mean he's probably the same age in the sense of how long we've been in these slacks as the rest of them, but it's probably a cheaper model that ages faster or is much more susceptible to just the harshness of life.
So to kind of like incentivize people to work harder to get a better one.
Yeah. So if you see someone that looks old, or at least like someone in a slack that looks old, it's a cheap one,
Right.
or it's faulty. And if people look young and in their 20s, then there's a good chance they're either have just entered the slack or are rich enough to afford a nicer one.
So does that mean the oldest people probably live at the top, like the tier 3, and then tier 2 is sort of like younger folks, and then below that is like a whole bunch of like 20-year-olds or something, like the artists and the hot affluent people?
Yeah, I kind of feel like, or at least that to me, that sounds kind of interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
Play on those ageist ideas.
Definitely, for sure. Anyone
This
else?
sounds like Silicon Valley.
Well, they don't have a city this big, so.
So I think I have an idea of how you can tell from the imagery that this is the future. I think that a lot of people inside the Veil wear almost what we would consider outlandish facades. So I think that a lot of them are animalistic. So you might have a triceratops or a gorilla or a giraffe or just different things where people are wearing, or aliens or mixes of the two, just crazy animals that, to be honest, I imagine that I woke up after a period of time and this is sort of like a confusing. It's very disorienting.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Amazingly, no one picked the question that I thought I was going to answer.
Oh.
I think for the ads, they're highly targeted. Like how you're getting served ads that are specific to your browser history now. It's even more so in the future. So it's like for Optic, he's not so much seeing the ads of like what to buy or what to eat, but he's seeing stuff like where his audience eats or where they want him to go, that sort of thing. So it's almost like social engineering through not vid screens, because I think we're probably ahead of that with the Veil, but through the omnipresent ads that show up everywhere or that pop up in your thoughts.
So it's kind of like the opposite. Like if they follow you and it's a lot of people, then they want you to do what they want instead of like, yeah. Okay, cool.
It might not be that way for everybody, but Optic is different, right? He's more of a product than a consumer.
Right. So like you might, is it like a pregnancy craving thing where it's subconscious? You're just like, you wake up and you suddenly just like super want ice cream even though you've never liked ice cream before. Cool. Okay. I think I'm gonna, well, just imagine all of these shots through the city as we're learning all this stuff as the audience, and then we're gonna start following the percipient, and you're gonna be in the Nethers, and you've been summoned by a very important person named Arista Jordan. You know that they're a big deal because, for number one, they live in the Nethers, and number two, down here, since it's like a very natural place, imagine buildings that are intertwined with biotechnology, like sort of they've allowed the tree to grow in such a way that the infrastructure around it is supporting the tree and it back. It's like a reciprocal relationship. And there's bugs and flies and stuff everywhere. And it's gotten to the point where you can't even tell which bugs are synthetic and which ones are real. And it's in such a way that their colors are coded to the houses by them, so you know who owns them. If they're extremely red, you could match it with them and be like, oh yeah, that's the Jordan household or whatever. And this is also where all the really artistic people are. So there might be artwork that is done specifically through the greenery. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but I saw on Pinterest there's this specific like green space pop culture stuff that they do in New York where they draw like a dark-skinned woman, and then her head being the afro is like a green bushery for where the tree has grown there. So things like that, where it's very like almost in reverence to the natural environment around them, and upkept and maintained, but for the most part allowed to kind of go wild, right? And as you're making your way through this place, you come to a very like imposing house. It's the only one that has stone built into the walkway, so you know that it's quite old because they would never do that anymore. It would all be some sort of natural polymer or micro mesh or something like that. So it's very old, and there's green inlays around it overgrowing. And you know you're at the right place because they told you to come to the oak edifice. And in the back, there's like a huge mansion, of course, because they're rich and all that. But again, it is separate from what is normal in the Nethers. It is not like a natural habitat mixed with technology. It looks like a mansion that we would know today, like a very probably like Victorian opulent looking thing. But in the back, it's so large that you can't not spot a huge oak edifice. And it looks kind of haggard, like it's been wrested from its purchase before, except that there's a statue there that is androgynous, and it is posed in such a way that it's holding up the oak so that it's able to still grow. and it's growing around it like that. And as you approach the entry, the stone face turns and the eyes follow you. And also, this is the scene where I'll be introducing the character and talking about the murder and everything, but I want to leave it up to you guys how you learn about this information. So if it's more interesting to you that you're not in the scene or that you are, just simply tell me, okay? So as you're making your way through this place, it has got the typical sliding doors of like a colonial place, I think. And everything is geared so that you know that it is coming. Like those insects are the same color of the house, which is probably like yellow. And as you walk in, they light a path to you as if they were like glow flies to follow. Do you follow? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely, I follow. Does the statue face look menacing, or is it
No.
just watching?
It's just, it might look menacing to you in that it like has no features. Like maybe it's disconcerting, but it doesn't have like eyebrows where it's like, I will fuck you up right now or anything. It's just simply watching.
Okay. Yeah. And yes,
Yeah.
I follow the path that's laid back. Did I get a message to come here?
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I thought I said that.
I think you
You were summoned to come, and in the interest of time, I was just like, you're coming.
That's right. Yeah.
So you come to a very large room in the center of the house where it's clearly designed so that you can look at this statue and it can probably look back as it tracks people around and stuff. But the path actually takes you to a side entry where it is clearly a path that is designed to show you that this person is a big deal, right? Like there is artwork and artifacts and things like that sprayed about. And from you guys, to keep you in the scene here, I want to know what else can you see that illustrates the class difference between the nethers and the upper class here as we're making our way through this scene, just as you have an idea. The first question is, how did you come to learn about this job? But we can handle after I give you the information. What about this house is particularly opulent? And what are some examples of technology fused with art?
So I have an answer to the first question.
Sure.
What appears to be so opulent is that there's nobody else here. Walking in, there are bugs and things like that light the path, but there's no other people. Up above, there's people everywhere. There's always people. Coming down here, the fact that there's not people is a luxury. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Does anyone else have any ideas?
I feel like maybe if anyone that is here walking through this building might not be seeing that advertising, at least to the same extent, sort of piece.
Oh, so,
yeah.
so
Unless
like,
that's part of it.
So like the opulence is that there's no advertisements in like
Right.
thought.
Like you can be here and you can look at all this beauty and not be distracted, and maybe you don't even realize that that's why
Right.
you're more calm here, or it feels more incredible. But that's what it is that maybe if it is there, it's very subtle, but it's not that stuff that
Right.
you're used to.
Normally, if there's art, you would like look at it and it'd be like, buy on eBay. This is by this person, and here's other arts by them, and yeah.
If you like this piece, you should look at this piece.
Exactly. Any other ideas, guys?
I think as a great example of the opulence, when you do see someone, they're wearing like a boutonniere, a flower. Like,
okay.
They have the ability to pluck flowers and wear them as they choose and wish.
Right. And real flowers, not like synthetic.
Yeah, this is real stuff.
Cool.
Like the fact that it's like slightly wilted is like a point of pride.
Oh, nice touch. Anything, Jeremy?
So this is like a private residence that the
Yeah, it could also bear in mind that it could be from the time that we see the percipient arrive at this place, going through the entire scene of them going through the nethers and reaching this place and going into the mansion, whatever you have an idea for.
Yeah, I think maybe part of the opulence as well is that there is this huge house and there's no one around, no ads, but there's also just a sprawling like yard or green space that's walled in. So they've got like everything is stacked on top of everything, but these people have room to breathe, room to move around.
Is there like is the fenced in green space like a maze? Or
no, I think it's open, and I think that it's kind of it stands out because there's nothing stacked on top of it. So if you were to look up, you would and not see the veil's depiction of a blue sky. Like if you see what was really there, you see all of the balconies of the higher levels above it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Above it, so that there's no one walking over top of them. There's not actually like a ceiling there that they see.
Cool. I got it. Awesome, thanks. Okay, so the trail takes you to a I'm gonna say, since we're going on a natural theme, the place is probably like really dark. It's like a synthetic wood that's new that's called mirror wood, and it's like a really dark wood. And it kind of looks like a mirror. That's why it's called mirror wood. So yeah, like if in the new Blade Runner, those kind of textures, right? It invokes the sense of like kind of like an Egyptian temple or something, right? Where every step that you take is meant to tell you that you're going somewhere important and they should be respected. And at the peak of it is a solitary person looking out over at the oak, and you're the percipient, so you can tell that they are aware that you have arrived. They are simply trying to convey to you their importance with this kind of like power pose and power move. Around them is kind of like a Sherlock Holmesy mind temple bookshelf place, right? And there's like a massive globe, things like that, things that you would automatically connect with intelligence is placed there strategically, all designed to make sure that they have the upper hand in any kind of conversation or confrontation, right? Yeah, so they're just standing there in sort of like a Superman-esque power sort of pose. And you can tell probably just from their frame that it is a woman, and they're in like a black businessy looking suit with blonde hair. What do you do?
I think that I walk up following the path prescribed and take my time to get there as expected. And once I approach the woman, I kind of bow a little bit to show my deference.
I think you see a slight nod, like this is what she hoped that she would receive from you, right? Like that is what she expected. And I think she moves to like a sort of loafing looking chair, except that it's one of the chairs that it's not a position that would acquiesce any sort of vulnerability to somebody. Like if they were sitting in a chair, it's more like designed as like a throne-ish chair kind of thing. And she says, "Thank you for coming. You were called here for a very, very special task. 48 hours ago, I was murdered, or at least my Slack was murdered. I have, of course, I have backup, and the killer must have known this. And out of character, what that means is essentially every like couple days or so, her mind is backed up to an offsite state. So if she is ever killed, anything happens, she's just simply put in a new Slack, right? So that kind of puts in the cultural connotations of why someone would even bother to murder somebody especially if they're so rich that they would be able to afford to just simply be reslacked. So, but she said the complication is that the incompetent police have said that my murder is not a murder. They said that it is a suicide. There was an investigation. They're incompetent. They say that no breaches in the perimeter were detected, and I must have taken my own life. And not only that, I somehow managed to use a particle weapon to burn through my neurochip, making it, in their mind, very clear that it was a suicide attempt. Because you would know a neurochip is very small on the brain. It would be like a very precise shot, right? So it's strange that a murder victim would be like a suicide victim would want to do this, but it would be very difficult for them to do.
Why would someone want to do that? Burn out the neurochip?
So that it was real death. If you
Okay.
if you didn't have offsite storage, and you killed them via neurochip, they couldn't just simply be dead. You could take their neurochip, put them in a new Slack, and they'd be, alive again. And this is how the authorities operate here. So crime is fairly low. They, if something happens to somebody now, they simply take their neurochip, Slack them, put them in like a digital environment, interrogate them, see what happened, and they're arrested. It's very hard to get away with things now, especially with an omnipresent drone situation flying everywhere. Although the drones probably do not come to the Nethers very often, right? They're more concerned with the denizens up top and on the middle structures. But Arista is very sure that she would not have done that. And the last thing that she remembers is that she went on a business trip by downloading herself to another city. And when she returned, the backup was delayed in such a way that the last thing that she remembers is the business trip and not when she arrived. But she is adamant that she did not kill herself. She wouldn't do that, especially with offsite storage. And the cops are prejudiced about it because they think that from time to time, these old beings, these undying people, do become sad and kill themselves. A natural life cycle in this scenario is like people work their whole lives to live twice, whereas her and probably her family can afford to be living young for the rest of their lives. Yeah. So she conveys all of that, and then she says that I will be candid about this. If you do not do this for me, I will have you put back in the storage. I own the company that put you in this Slack. I don't want to threaten you right away, but I think that you being new and all, you should know the lay of the city, so to speak.
I understand. I think that in order to find your killer, I will need very personal access to you and to your memories and anything stored into your private workings.
She nods, and like as if already anticipating your needs, there's like probably a button on her throne or whatever, and she clicks it, and there's like a cred stick that has, unlimited money or whatever on it, and credentials that you can use to access whatever authority that you need.
I understand that. And I appreciate your trust in me, in us. However, I think that part of what I'm talking about is we might have to pry into something that's very personal to you. And I want to make certain that you understand that we're not trying to overstep our bounds. We're trying to perform the task you're asking.
I think as you're saying that, you should probably read her as well, probe her. And how are you feeling about this situation?
So that is probe. Is that right?
Yeah, probe to it's one of the ones where you can be like, is she telling the truth, right? And all that. It's like a read a person from Apocalypse World.
Yeah, I think fundamentally I'm feeling scared
Okay.
because this is a person who could squash me like a gnat, and that's something I'm not feeling very comfortable with.
On the other hand, though, I will prefer to prefer. I'll tell you that you're also completely trained for this. You're probably overskilled for this kind of mission as well, right? Like, if the police already, it's kind of strange that she wants specifically you. It would be like calling in like a Navy SEAL to investigate your murder or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So just be aware
the
of that.
investigation isn't as big of a deal. The scary part is the power behind it. It's sort of
Okay.
like trying to kill a fly with a hammer.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And my scared is 0, so I rolled a 9.
Okay. Hit
So
me with the
probe
questions.
gets 1. I think the important one here is she telling the truth? Is there anything she's holding back?
And you've just said like, yeah, you said you shouldn't be holding anything back, right? Like, I'm gonna need to pry into your daily life and like I might uncover things that you might be uncomfortable with, essentially, right?
Yeah, basically I've warned her that we will be because of this job, we will be prying into things that she might be uncomfortable with.
Right. I'm not sure how to say it. She's like, she is telling the truth, but withholding information about her life, if that makes sense. Yeah.
There's some secrets. Everybody has secrets, but it's not. Everything she said so far has been true. There's no reason she would kill herself. There's not anything she could think of that way. I asked her if she has any enemies.
She runs crap, what did I name the corporation? I think Secure Tech or something. No, it's New Life, of course. she runs she's a retired scientist. Like, let's just say that while you were on the way here, you pulled up her information and shit because you're like a military guy, right? Yeah. So it was a huge deal building this city and putting together the laws for Green Zone. And she was a scientist who retired and then funded New Life, which is the company that birthed all glitches. So the difference between you guys, your slacks and other slacks, is that your slacks your neurochips are antiquated, and that is what causes your memory loss. So as everybody else does just get into a new slack, and slacks are so indistinguishable and used as a colloquial term that anybody who is in a body is in a slack now. They don't refer to it as a body. They might even refer to the body that they were born into as a slack. That's how it's just become as a reference to. And New Life, though, is the corporation that built the tech that allowed glitches to come back from the old world. And they specifically do that for purposes, right? As you know, they wanted specifically you and your skills on their side of the corporation for whatever nefarious purposes, probably. Whether or not they knew that technology caused glitches where you guys would forget your memory is ambiguous. Yeah. So she's a huge deal, which also means that she's essentially saying, like, I don't have friends, essentially. Like, everyone is my enemy.
So who else wants to be there?
Yeah. Does anybody want to be in this scene? For the pneumologist, I am thinking that it would be neat if you come by this information by her kind of like having gone to your scene before. I think that might be interesting.
I was kind of leaning towards that as well.
Yeah.
So that would be, so she's So I'm here now because she's come by previously. Is that the
What?
setup, or am
How
I
you-
here later because of this situation has happened? I'm just trying to parse that.
I think that specifically in this information here, it is such a huge deal that she was murdered, right? And the cops actually investigated it, like she said, incompetently, supposedly. But everybody could have just learned this information just in that way, consumed the news, and been like, "Oh shit, Arista Jordan got killed," and and you're like, "Oh, that old lady comes to my town all the time," right?
Okay, yeah, I like that.
What about you guys? What's interesting for you?
I think I got bought by her because, like I said, I'm kind of janitorial, and I was the one who like found the body, quote unquote.
Cool.
Like the sensor went off. Hey, there's a bunch of inert matter here. Go clean it up. And I walk in, it's like, oh, that's someone's Slack, and it's still smoking.
Oh, okay.
All right, what's protocol 75A? And so I've been bought to keep me pristine. So like I've probably lost a couple days since they iced me to keep me fresh.
Okay. So do you mean they bought you and then they deleted those memories, or?
No, like she wants to know who did this.
Yeah.
To make sure that no one messes with me. She probably like bought me and then like secure locked me.
Okay. So you're like holed up in somewhere, right? Okay.
Yeah. She like on that cred chip, it's like probably, by the way, go slack that guy. He's the one who found the body.
Interesting. Okay. And what about you?
I think Optic's going to come in a bit later. I think he may have been in the environs where she was murdered.
Okay.
But he's not drawn into this situation yet. But if people are looking through footage of what happened, they may come across his stream as like some of the evidence for what was going on.
His dream?
No, his stream. Like he was in the area where it might have happened. So you may not have seen the murder and seen who did it.
Okay,
but you may have seen her right before she died, or seen like the scene right after she died.
Okay, so there's like an active transmission going out at that time, so it's suspicious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's part of wrapping in the incompetence of the police, right? They obviously were like, obviously you just offed yourself. And she was like, well, what about, there's this person whose feed was going out, and they're like, you killed yourself. Right. Okay, cool. So nobody else wants to be in the scene at this time, right?
No.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's cut to the pneumologist place then. Why don't you think of it as like a vignette that you're setting up in the first time that we're seeing you in the movie, or the first time we're seeing your place, the store, whatever you've named it, and etc. Just have full creative control.
Okay, yeah. So it's called the Soldada, or I think it's the pronunciation, and it's kind of like it seems very museum-like, but obviously like smaller and more compact. Art on the walls, but everyone is maybe seeing something different there. It's much more like the empty screen there. Music is playing. There are rooms for people, but a lot of times they go and like plug in these, and so some people are like reenacting their memories, kind of, and so we're following Raphael as he's sort of walking through with the code on. Like some people that are more aware of what's happening and are just watching it on a screen will like wave to him, and he kind of just gives nods. But some people are very lost in it. I think there's just different levels of the intensity of the memory. So it's sort of a lot of, as this music is playing in the background, we just sort of see him. This is his domain. This is his daily life, is just sort of wandering around, making sure everything is working right. Maybe we see a couple shots of him, maybe talking with people about, maybe you want this memory, or maybe buying some from people so that he has this store. But yeah, so it's that sort of like wandering around, making sure everything is okay. kind of maybe with his hand behind his back. Kind of.
Is the connector for the memory experience thing like a Ghost in the Shell, where it's like the analog 1/8 thing that they just click in the back, or what is it?
I was kind of thinking something like that. Yeah, like it's a little chip that you insert.
Okay. And then is like, do their eyes just like go blank and stuff like that, or is there like code running down their eyes, or what?
I think anyone looking, it still looks like normal eyes, but they're obviously not seeing the things that anyone else would be seeing, even within the veil. Like they're very obviously they're somewhere else. They're not reacting to the same. They wouldn't react to light in the same way. They're like looking in different directions.
Is it like Blade Runner, where it's kind of like it kind of looks like there's that weird red light in their eye kind of thing?
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like their eyes are showing them the picture of what they're doing, but they're also experiencing it and stuff, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you're making your rounds and all that jazz, right? What is the like decor and stuff like this? Does it look like a nightclub or?
No, it's very. There's lots of like red velvet. There's lots of like. This is like a museum almost.
So large spaces, lots of. It's like a minimalism design kind of thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then basically it's supposed to be this sort of opulent place, but also like the colors are more muted. It's a sort of it has that sad nostalgic idea, so it's not like bright by any stretch.
Yeah, if you want something bright, go watch a memory, right? Cool. Okay, so I think you're making the rounds, and you have a couple of regulars, right? Which regulars do you have?
I hadn't named them because I wasn't sure, if you wanted them to be people that you knew, tied together.
Did you choose the options though?
Okay, so you pick one of the three options, or?
Yeah, there's the one above, which is like kind of a nasty person towards you, and then there's the one like right after that is like the nice person for you, and then there's like a couple options there. Like you have a weapon in the bar that is all the time there, or
okay, I had the nice person. I have a sort of she came here a while ago, and it's not it's the would never see me come to harm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a bouncer, but we're more friendly than that. Her name's Amina, I think is what I came up with. I think I always have a gun handy, and then there are secret ways in and out that only I know of and use. Dope. So there are like passageways and secret doors that only I can see. Cool. And I think there is, I don't have the name if you want to come up. There's someone that wants this place gone for good.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in my back pocket, maybe. Okay. So it was Amina?
Amina.
Amina. Let me write that down. What does she look like? Do you have an idea?
I think she's dark-skinned, has like dyed blue hair, and is like bouncer-esque in that she is obviously dangerous. Like she probably looks like she's in her 30s, but like pretty like fit, knows what she's doing, cool. And probably has a couple like tattoos. Nice.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Amina comes up to you and she's like, she gives you like a look that is between friends that's like, we need to talk somewhere private, something that you guys have probably shared many times in this place before. And so maybe she like, squirrels you away to wherever there isn't customers yet. Maybe it's just winding up so that people are coming in. And she says, you heard about Arista before, right? Like the cops swept it under the rug. Mm-hmm.
I've heard a little. What's something new?
Something new, yeah. There's a Steve, is there like like a colloquial name for you at all, for like your people?
Let's see. I don't know. Maybe Percy's.
Percy's? Like your whole squad is Percy's?
So I was thinking more along of the lines of someone who's been brought back, like a military person who's been brought back to do something.
Okay,
The
that's like
generic
this.
term for that would be a Percy. For the squad, I think it would be maybe sort of a number. So like the 451st or something like that, because that's a known. They bring this military squad back into play whenever something big happens.
Right. Okay. So I think she says we've Percy is on the tail now. Is there anything I should be worried about? Or we're clean, right? We don't have to worry about this.
He kind of like pauses for a second and is thinking, and turns and is like, nothing to do with us. I don't think. I think I might have heard something. If there was anything that you need to worry about, don't.
Okay. What might be fun then is, why don't we retroactively use your move for when you were ripping a memory from Arista?
Okay.
That might be neat, because that might inform where we go from there.
Okay, so I guess she was coming by here, and ripping a memory from her in this sense is she's maybe selling me a memory or trading me one for a different one. Is that how?
What is most exciting to you? Like, do you think she came to you to have a memory removed, or was she like experiencing a memory and you sort of like LoJack that memory and just like downloaded it for yourself to get some good stuff? Or yeah, is she a regular? Like, does she come does she come to specifically experience some pretty weird stuff, since she's like hundreds of year old person, stuff like that? What is most interesting to you?
I like this. So I think that my character, because like all of us, he is from the past in a sense, depending on how long. And this is why, and he can't remember a lot on his own. He's drawn to this field in general. So he kind of has a weird ambiguous feelings towards her, because she essentially owns them. But he can sense a kindred spirit in someone feeling slightly out of time. I think she does go back to experience memories of times that, or just things that aren't in the world now, or even if we might think that it's better now, just elements of the world that are gone. And I think that I'm not quite sure if they are like, 'cause she has like a few memories that she always goes back to.
Okay.
So I do think that I was probably copying it or downloading it without her knowledge necessarily.
Cool. Let's do that move. Magic Man, I believe, right?
Yeah. Magic Man. All right. So how am I feeling at this point? This is. I think that he feels powerful. Like he is, pulling one over on one of the most powerful people here. Theoretically, this is what he does, and this is maybe going to help him in the future somehow. Yeah, so I think this would be a powerful role. I wonder, is there a way for using Roll20 to instantly hit that? Specifically the powerful roll, or do I just type in normal dice?
Yeah, you should be able to just click on your stat there, character sheet, just hit roll dice, and
oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, I got it. All right, powerful. And
six.
6. Okay. Starting things off.
Let's see. Let's say that you had advantage in this situation. Roll one more die.
Okay.
Just like a in the side, just slash roll 1d6. And before you rolled a 1 and a 4. So a 5 and a 4, so that's a 9 now.
All right, I'll take it. So yeah, all right. So choose 2. I'm gonna say that I feel like it's something about the memory clip that makes it highly sought after.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick that one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that the memory clip will not degrade over time.
Okay, interesting. So your own memory is not unmodified, and someone you wouldn't want finding you still can't locate you did not happen. Cool.
I kind of like the idea that I've sampled so much of my own wares in the sense that even less than the other glitches, I'm not quite sure like what memories were mine and what were other people's. So this is something that he's almost maybe like shrugged his shoulders. This is what's going to happen. So if that's what happens to him. So.
Cool. And I think you're like just about like I think you tell her that everything's fine or whatever, and she looks apprehensive. She knows you enough that she's like, yeah, I don't know, like we'll see. And I think you maybe go to whatever place that you go to experience the memory, and it's just about to turn on the audio screen or on like the people visually watching was just about to experience it. And then we cut to let's cut to the denotation then. Let's cut to Plato.
All right.
Is it -1? What are you up to then? So you're squirreled away?
Yeah, I think like the first on-screen we're gonna see is when Siobhan like slots me back into the generic Slack that I've been assigned to.
Okay.
Like, so the scene is going to be like this pristine, harsh office lighting, kind of claustrophobic area, like on the area where the body was found. And he like takes out his chip, slots it in, the door opens up, and just I kind of pop out, boot up, and I spit out some sort of corporate mandated, oh, when you see someone, you need to wish them a good day. And by the way, our current advertiser is, Happy Snacks. So make sure you recommend that they get their Happy Snack today.
If you see something, say something.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Like just that generic. And remember, it's everyone's duty to have a safe environment. If you see something, say something. And just that fake smile before it like sets and I realize I'm actually awake and back in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just quickly looking around like, what happened?
Hello, Plato One. You've been disabled for a short time, and I'd like to talk to you about the last things that you saw. Would you mind having a seat here at the table?
Sure. Who are you?
Oh, I'm very sorry. My name is Siobhan, and I'm here to talk to you about the disturbing things that you just saw. Can you tell me what you remember?
Does anyone want to fire off a move for this interaction?
I think I'm gonna like take a look at this guy because the last thing I really remember, I think, and the statement I wanted to make with this character is like life at a certain level is considered cheap, disposable. Like I think I was like saw the body, had reported it, and then they immediately shut me down for interrogation, and then that got bought. So last thing I remember is like reporting in the body. So I'm like, wait, it's been 3 days?
Did the cops interrogate you? Do you have a memory of that?
Here's a question too, Siobhan. Is this actually happening in the real world, or is this an interrogation in a purely digital world, and it's actually you interfacing with their neurochip?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Would you like that, Farrell?
I think that would also help with that sting of, yeah, you're also disposable and digital.
Okay. So I think what this actually looks like, you see this interaction so far, and we're starting to talk a little bit, and then the camera zooms out a little bit, and what you actually see is Siobhan, and she has little wires that have come out of her hand and are interfacing to the neural chip that's actually in a little plastic container.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the table where we're talking.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And in terms of what you want to say, Farrell, the only thing that I prepared is the setup. So wherever this goes, whatever we figure out. Like if we have to even deal with it in exposition after, don't worry about it. Just say what is interesting, make up whatever you want about what you saw, what you felt, everything like that. Just go with it, guys.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make it blatant so that people could play off of it. Okay. So I think like I haven't noticed it yet, but I'm kind of like giving you the eye, like, okay, and I'm trying to figure out who you are really. So, you know, I'm talking like, well, I remember walking into room 507A, the, you know, refuse alarm had gone off. Apparently there was a large foreign matter in there. I figured the sewage had backed up or something. You know, that apartment, and I'm like kind of babbling at you, trying to keep you busy with minutia while I'm trying to get a read on you, trying to figure out what the hell you actually are.
Okay, so you're just like jargoning it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're probing?
Yeah, sure. I'm probing, and I'm gonna say I am probably scared at the moment because you know, I've got the like internal. You know, everyone's got like an internal clock now, and I'm missing 2 to 3 days or so.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell happened? So click on that little dice. Normal. Scared. What do we got?
You got a 6. You guys
all right.
Actually, is there a help move in this?
Yeah, there's helper hinder.
Oh yeah, okay, I see that.
Yeah, but considering I'm probing you, I don't know if you'd want to help.
Well, it depends on
to get your compliance right. Like that's definitely what somebody who is very versed in other people in Percipient might do.
Okay, so the thing that I keep hearing you saying about what's going on is that you've lost days.
Yeah.
And I think I confide in you and I say, I understand where you're coming from. There's portions of my own memory that I can't recall. And this is, I understand how disturbing that is. But we all have to acclimate to the world that we're in today. And I'm trying to do the best that I can. And I think I need your help in order to find out what's going on. So I need to roll.
Just how you're feeling.
Okay. But, okay. I think in this case, I'm feeling powerful in the situation that I'm in.
Like, do you feel like you have the upper hand and you're manipulating him?
I feel like I have the upper hand in that the information that he has is more important probably than his slack or what could happen to him.
That's true.
Okay. Basically, unfortunately, I feel sorry, but I mean, basically, this is the situation where I need to find this out.
Totally.
Yeah. And
nothing personal. Nothing personal, just business.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So I got a 8. I got an 8.
Cool. So you bump it up to +1, and you can ask, what is it, 1 question or 2 questions? 1 question.
1 question. All right. What I want to know is, what do you intend to do with me once I give you this information?
Oh, as long as you are helpful, then, and I'm not saying as long as you are valuable, but I'm saying as long as you're helpful, you will get the respect anyone else would. However, if you are not helpful, if you hide things from me, I think I would be very dangerous to you. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very much that, okay, it's not that they consider me exploitable, but yeah. And so I think I'm just like, okay. And then once like I stop giving you the motion, I like move on to the actual meat of what you want, which is finding the body, which is what was the description like, what time was it, like all those little pertinent details. And like as I'm telling it, you can also probably like read my visual data that I got from that time period, if it's available.
You could share that probably.
Oh yeah, it's like I like offer like a business card or something. Like it's not like an AR business card, and you take it and you can see like, you know, a minute before I walked in the door all the way to when my feed was cut.
So I think that the way that this is on screen is as you kind of show that image and we see it kind of zipping past, it's sort of like where they're looking through video on Blade Runner or something. It gets to a certain point and we see the body, and then we see kind of zoom in and we're looking at the wound and all of that kind of stuff. And I think I'd like to analyze the murder scene.
Sounds good. Also, for either of you, does this truth that you've exchanged with each other feel intimate for either of you?
Oh.
Are people even truthful to each other in this world? And does that make it intimate when you exchange it?
That's a good question. I think I feel something because you're talking to me as a person, not as a object, which is what normally my interaction is with people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, why don't you fire off your special then?
Oh, excellent. So the denotation special is when you share a moment intimate with someone, be it physical or emotional, you pierce the constant illusion of the veil as though you had lifted it. And they see you in the same way, and you may ask them any one question from any of the basic moves, and they will answer truthfully. However, if you do, they will ask you a question in return under the same terms. So
you're aware that you are not a person right now.
Oh, yeah. And I think the question I want to ask is this. I think the question I want to ask is this. How can I get you to fully trust me?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. Well, do you also, Steve, are you going to fire off your move?
So let me look. So the percipient special, moment of intimacy. Yeah. So I think that this is kind of a profound interaction between the two of us, because not only did he expertly read what was going on, and I've kind of been trained around that, but I opened myself up to him to get the information I need, and he's pierced the veil to a certain extent and been able to see what's really going on. And I think all of that's very significant. So I think that this is just opening myself up to him is something that I normally wouldn't do, but was necessary in this circumstance. So yeah, I think I will.
Okay, cool.
Let me answer your question, which was, what could you do for me to trust you? And for me, that's probably show loyalty to me, maybe, or to I guess it's more show loyalty to the mission.
Okay.
Yeah. And I get to ask you a question.
How about hold on to that and let's cut over to Optic?
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll do that.
Optic, what are you up to? Do you want to be? Do you have a specific thing in mind for where you want to be, or do you want some help figuring out what's going up, or what?
I think that Optic is going to be in a similar situation that what's her name? Sorry, Arista was.
Okay.
Where some of his memories have been erased. So his neurochip had a similar procedure done to it, but maybe instead of waking up somewhere else, he just woke up with a hell of a hangover or headache in an alley somewhere. Or he's not as high class, right?
Did you get it done by somebody in the crap, I keep forgetting what your place is called.
Soldado. I'll spell it on here.
Yeah, if you could put it on chat. So did you get it done there? I'm thinking perhaps that perhaps Raphael didn't do it, but the person who wants to see this place burn kind of takes these jobs unbeknownst to you within the organization, right? Like they try to steal some of your clientele while still working for you. And I think their name is Dante. So what do you think about that? Maybe you came to this place and you thought you were getting like the pneumologist, right? But instead you got like this backstreet Dante guy who just kind of like messed your shit up, basically.
Yeah, I can work with that. So I think before that happens, Optic is kind of like, he woke up without memory of the previous, whatever, like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But his stream, like his audience, is all like, what happened to her? Like, who's the guy in the trench coat? Like all these questions about an event that he doesn't remember.
So they saw it, but you don't remember what it was. Interesting.
Yeah, someone wiped his memory, but they couldn't wipe out the stream, right? He'd already put it out there.
Yeah.
Into the world.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So I could wander into Saudade and run into this Dante character. I was thinking I might be trying to lift the veil to try to like access some memories that are supposed to be gone.
Okay, well, is it more interesting that you find Dante, or is it more interesting that you find Raphael and then you find out that Dante is not the pneumologist that you thought they were? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that I would wind up finding Raphael just so we can get some interaction between characters.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Maybe that puts us on the lead, right? Like maybe.
Yeah, for
Dante's
sure.
the one who did like the trash job to erase his memory.
Definitely.
So do we want to fire a move, or do we just want to assume that that's what happened?
Like you guys have already exchanged that information about Dante screwing you over and all that stuff, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, so we're under the assumption that that Optic came in here, planning to talk to me, but Dante showed up instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Did this job.
How about when the scene opens, like we can cut back to the shop, and Raphael's still kind of like going around talking to the clientele, and maybe Optic is a bit out of place there. Like he doesn't look like someone who would.
Yeah, well, you're like actively looking for a person instead of a memory, right?
Yeah. And maybe when we try to, like, when I'm trying to lift the veil, is he's trying to access the memory. It's got Dante's fingerprints all over it. That's why those memories are missing.
Oh,
he's just done a hack job to pull the memories out.
Okay. So.
And I'm coming to Raphael, and it's basically like, I need your help. My stream is going nuts, and I gotta find out what I'm missing. Can you help me go deep into the memories and find out what's gone? Is there any way to bring it back?
There are ways. I haven't done it in a while, but I can see what I can do. Out of character. So have we established at this point, do I know that it was Dante, or is that what I'm trying to figure out in this?
I think we've fast forward through that conversation, it looks like. Like, I think it's just information that you two both know that essentially Dante screwed over this person, and they are probably just like in the wind now. And
Okay.
they did work for you and obviously offered their services as if they were you as well, and did a hack job.
Okay. Then I think my tone is going to be a bit different. I think that I wasn't super aware of Dante's feelings. I think that I was maybe even grooming Dante as a successor, and now have this deep, almost parental disappointment in this, and like this sort of quiet anger. So I think that I definitely but when you ask me, I say like, come with me, and I lead you into one of the like more secret back rooms, and it's still, I guess it's probably a small room, very dark colored, very plain, but there's like maybe like a mat to like sit on down there, and there's maybe just like a single like very intricately carved wooden cabinet that I actually that exists, maybe that almost physically exists more than anything else, and I'm pulling equipment out from it. So I think that what I come out with, I guess the machine that you do this with, these chips or whatever, and look at you and I go, I know you can't remember exactly, but I need you to feel around the edges of it. Think about what it is you can't remember and what do you think should be there, and I'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
Okay. Is this also a magic man?
Let's see. Pneumologist. Yeah, I think so, hey?
Yeah, I'd see. I'm not sure what the knowledge is, but it might also be a lift the veil. Like if it's been digitally erased, I might be able to see through that.
Yeah, that's interesting. We could go with that. Because the Magic Man is more about taking out memory than injecting memory in, right?
Okay, then I think I'll do a lift the veil.
Sure.
I think
How
I'm
you feeling? Are you hurt?
yeah, I'm feeling betrayed, I think, which is or disappointed, probably, which
So is that mad or sad then?
I feel like at this point it's sad. It could curdle into something worse later on.
Fair enough. That's what I like to hear.
So all right, so let's lift the veil. I got myself some actual dice.
Try to help with it too.
Oh yeah, you can too. If he needs it, you can go ahead.
All right, I rolled an 8.
Okay.
So,
do you have any specific moves that give people advantage or anything like that as well? The telepresence. Telepresence.
I don't think so.
Is there any move that you want to use in conjunction with this just fictionally to make something more cool or whatever?
Well, the move I thought I would use would be lift the veil, but I think if Raphael's lifting the veil, then it's more of a help. The one thing that I was thinking was that
you might be analyzing, right? Like if his lift the veil works, then you might be analyzing the information.
Cool. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, cool. So 8 on lift the veil. Well, let me see.
I think what happens is my cybernetic eye can play for me what I can try to glean from the discarded shreds of this memory.
Cool. Okay, and Jeremy, do you have an idea out of character of what that information is already that you think would be interesting and share? Because you mentioned like a trench coat person and some other stuff. Yeah, we can go any direction you guys want, like I said. So
I'm thinking it's something identifying about the killer.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, if we roll well.
Well, he gets an impression, so it would be like a what's a good equation to that? It would be like a jump. Okay, perfect. Have you guys seen Minority Report?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they're getting those messages from like Agatha and the people hanging out in the tubes, they get those like weird, just like jumbled of memories. I think it looks like that, right? So do you wanna give us a clue, or do you want me to come up with something?
I will let you come up with something if you're all right with that. I don't want to give an answer to tension, because that.
Sure. Sure. So I think what you see is that, well, for one, I think we learned that it is a murder, in fact, which we didn't know before. So I think we see, yeah, okay, let's go with this. She's in that place of power that we saw, like her seat that makes it seem like she doesn't have to, it's sitting but not giving up any status in the room, basically. And at first it looks like she is just going to off herself, like the cop said, right? But then as we zoom closer, we see that her like perfect synthetic slack is actually sweating, which should be like only in impossible situations. Like we even see like the pores in the CGI, right? Like they're so smooth that it barely beads any sweat at all. So if she's out playing tennis or whatever, it's like no big deal. But in this way, we know she's under duress. And then we see that it's sort of like a, what's a good, yeah, like her coat is like, it's a business suit, but it's sort of like frayed around this part in the arm. And you see her veins are sort of like greenish where she's holding the gun. And just as the trigger is pulled, we pan the camera around and we see someone's neck with like a tattoo that is like an advert that is moving. And I think it's like a panther that is pouncing. And then that's all we see. So it's like a Technicolor kind of panther that is leaping and then going back and then leaping and then going back, right? So a very fancy tattoo. And those are the things you see as it kind of just like plays Minority Report style in your eye.
All right, I definitely, I guess Optic doesn't immediately, also see this. I guess this is just what I'm gleaning.
Well, unless you have like a rig where it.
Oh, it's definitely projecting the wall. It's or projecting in the veil, but appears as the screen. So you can Optic can look up this bit of your memory shot out through my eye. So we both see it at the same time.
Cool.
And I think I like look at him and I'm like, well, shit.
And I like the idea of Optic also manipulating this in like an intuiting technology like Minority Report, right? Like as we see whatever that Minority Report's character getting the memories and he's like zooming in, zooming out and like doing all this stuff, right? And that'll be your analyze move. So let's fire that off.
Cool. Just gotta flip over to the character sheet here.
And how are you feeling? Are you feeling super happy? I bet not.
I'm probably feeling kind of angry, which is not a great place to be.
Well, I mean, shit went down. Anger is okay. Feel the anger.
Yeah, no, I'm totally like, don't they know? I lost 2 days of streaming revenue.
Nice. That's where you go. And that's how you know you're in a cyberpunk dystopia, friends.
Yep.
Should I roll normal with this?
What do you mean?
Like normal, disadvantage, or advantage?
Roll with advantage. I think that you're probably skilled in this. Like you essentially are so good at this when you're going live that you're editing as you do it. So I think this is no problem.
Okay. Got a 9.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Is I wonder if, are you helping Raphael?
Oh yeah, definitely. I could boost that up. All right. Well, I imagine that the act of helping is still tied in with this. I don't think I would have a different emotion in this.
Yeah,
case.
it sounds like shit's getting real.
Yeah. Well, did not go well on that one. I got a 5.
Okay. Unfortunately. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that miss, and you ask those questions.
Yeah, so I think I get one or two. I get two.
Two. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the obvious one last.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I'm kind of torn between what, if anything, appears out of place, but I think we've already kind of established that.
Could be more so.
I'm gonna ask, what's my enemy's true position?
What's their enemy's true position? Okay, I think what it looks like is you cross-reference, like you see that leaping tiger coming out, right? And you see that you run like, I don't know, it in the Vale, essentially, and there's like a place in the Nethers that does this specific work. It's like someone like an artisan of tattooing could only do this, right? And what it actually comes up with is someone had this removed only like 24 hours ago or whatever, right?
Okay. And then my last question, I think I know the answer to it, but I want to ask it just for thematic purposes. Is this going to get worse before it gets better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the shot that I see as the answer, if I can answer my own question, is like security cam footage of the precipient, like who's caught wind of the channel and is approaching to try to find out what's going on with Raphael and with the optic stream, because it's probably pretty good evidence for this investigation.
Just a little bit.
So one quick aside, there's a move for Old Hungers.
Okay.
Where it's if you don't have a lead at the start of the game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I was just going to say, can I just consider the current situation the lead? Like, we've established now that
most definitely. Definitely.
So would I
and you have the source as well. All you need is the facts.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Cool.
Yeah, you're almost ready to go live. Woo!
Yeah, I'm gonna crack this wide open here. Get
so
some
I think
major light.
What is it you say that comes out of your mouth as we cut back to the scene with the percipient? Like, yeah.
I think it's going to be. You got a close shop. We have to get the hell out of here.
And I call up. I'm like, Amina, it may involve us after all.
Nice. That's very nice. Sweet. Okay, let's go. Actually, maybe now would be a good time to take a fiver. And also, I'm going to put this out there. If anybody wants to be the killer, start thinking about that. Okay, so let's take 5. We'll come back at, what is that? It would be like 50. Or we'll just come back in 7 minutes to make it an even 15. Is that good?
Okay.
Cool.
So Fraser, what's the touchstone for the telepresence?
Telepresence is a book called I have it right here actually. The Fortunate Fall.
Okay.
It's very good. It's written by Raphael Carter, and it was the first book in cyberpunk written by an author that refused to distinguish gender as well. Like they were just straight up like, I'm fluid, and you can really tell like there's those themes in the actual novel, and it's a spectacular book.
I asked because after we talked last night and we talked a little bit about Max Headroom, I went back and I watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes off of YouTube.
Yeah.
And, the main character in Max Headroom is a journalist.
Okay.
And he has his hacker back, at the home office that's directing him how to get into a building and that kind of stuff. And he's projecting all of the information back, all of the vid back for the television channel. So I thought, the way that I think it's Jeremy, the way that Jeremy's playing the telepresence, I was like, oh, that looks familiar from what I just saw last night. So
nice.
It's very good.
Yeah, I'm digging all of this. I hope everyone's having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Hope I'm bringing some good game to the table.
Oh yeah, I thought it was awesome, and we're just about to jump into some more of that. I really like the image. That's why I was like, is this intimate at all? Because your special would be kind of fucking amazing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine that entire scene is just like kind of a Matryoshka doll of just, you zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom out, back and forth between all these different levels that they're interacting on.
Yeah.
So, I've been really enjoying all the color everyone's been bringing to these scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everyone's been doing awesome. Let's see. Okay, so we're back with you two interacting, and the veil had just been pulled back, and I believe you were just about to ask a question.
Yeah, I think that Siobhan gets a question in response to your intimacy move.
Yep.
And I think it would be what do you intend to do?
Oh, what do I intend to do? What I intend to do is seek out the cold, hard truth.
Ooh.
Okay. So the percipient also gets a move called Soak It Up. So that this is whenever you arrive in a new place, you may tell people about any local customs, traditions, or aspects of the culture around you that you notice that gives you a tactical advantage. When you do so, take +1 forward, so long as you are within the same area when you trigger a move.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to apply that now to this. Would you
Sure.
call this the denizens? The depths?
The digital space?
No. The lower levels.
Oh, the nethers.
The nethers. So I think in the nethers, the thing that I picked up on is that, there was nobody around. But I think the reason it appeared that way is because all of the help, so the people like Plato 1, are made to look invisible in the veil. So no one notices them. They're like most of the denizens, the people walking around, they have their veil characteristics and all of that. But I think that the helper, they're not visible. And no one would ever notice them because the veil makes them look invisible.
Yes, I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah. And it's not just that people ignore them. It's that the veil literally erases them. Yeah.
Awesome. I dig it.
Okay.
All right.
So what would you like to do next? I think, I know what it was. There was an analyze move.
Yeah, I think you were about to trigger something.
Yeah, we were looking through the video of the murder scene and zooming in on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to do an analyze move of the actual scene itself. And how am I feeling? I think I'm feeling joyful. This is my job. This is what I'm good at. So
you're on the scent.
That's right. And I got a 10.
Oh.
Which gives me 3. Let's ask what if anything appears out of place in the at the murder scene.
Mm-hmm. I think what appears out of place is that, it's biotech, right? So the whatever they had used to sort of like hijack the person's arm degraded into the system, but that can still be traced if you know what you're doing. And the cops were just like, "You committed suicide. We're not doing that."
Which enemy is the biggest threat?
I think immediately you know that it's like you see that it is definitely staged and there is a person. And you also know that because of the way the place is set up and just how like high class it is. Remember, she said that nobody had triggered the sensors. Perhaps there is somebody. It was like an inside job, right? Also, I think you also pick up on the fact that chances are those eyes in the statue that track the comings and going might have a feed as well.
Or maybe optics eyes.
Yeah. All the eyes, there's eyes everywhere, apparently.
Maybe it was optic was like a statue for the day. It's just one of those like bizarre feeds that you see on YouTube of people doing stupid things.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's good. And I think my last question is, what was the victim's name again?
Arista.
Yeah. How is Arista vulnerable to me?
We'll go deeper on the secrets angle. Remember I said she was withholding information?
Yeah.
What is it? I'll ask you, how you know this, but what is it that you find that ties it to Sudadad?
Yeah. So I think during my research, looking into her past, she takes pains to show that she doesn't leave the Nethers. However, with some digging, it's obvious that she does, and I track where she goes.
Mm-hmm.
And did we establish what she goes to the Sudadad to experience?
So I did take that memory, but we haven't like in the story seen.
I've been trying to give you as much time as you want to try to like think up what that is that you're seeing, basically.
Okay.
So I think what this is because I don't want to stomp on what it is, but I think what's going on here is there's almost like an addictive quality. So she does this very regularly. It's like every week at the same time she goes to this place, experiences the same memory, or deals with the same stuff, and then comes back. It's either a recharge or it's a fix, or there's something like that in that process.
Yeah, you're familiar with the cycles, and you're like, oh yeah, I see what's up with this. Yeah. Cool. And I think it might be interesting then. One of the questions you guys asked each other is, how would you be like helpful or something like that? I think Farrell, right? Your character was told that they would be trusted if you proved the loyalty. Mm-hmm. I have an idea for what that might be. What if you use one of your denotation moves to hack into the feed for this place? And that is what we saw in the last scene with the percipient being able to look at their feed. It's because you made that happen physically in the Veil, digitally.
You hacked my brain.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'm down with that.
Cool.
Let's see.
It's probably expose.
Yeah, I'm thinking expose, and oh man.
Or decentralize.
Yeah, I think decentralized works. That's use your implement in the hopes of shifting some digital and of importance from the gatekeepers to another location. That sounds kind of like what we're doing here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we're like, we own the horizontal and the vertical now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, and what am I feeling about this? I don't think I'm scared anymore. I've got like someone at my back. I think I'm feeling, kind of joyful about this. Even not only is someone at my back, they're like considering me an equal. So
Not only that, you're about to show them that you're very helpful, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
So take advantage for sure.
All right. Doing joyful on this. All right. Survey says that is a 5. Wow.
Do you have any other moves that might help? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything.
Okay.
Little help maybe.
I don't think I can help anything to bump you up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you? Oh no, you have wired. You have neurochemistry, but that doesn't work for somebody else.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we already know that this happens, right? But
Yeah.
and we already kind of played out the scene in the other place where you do bring this data feed, and they do see it's like clearly a two-way thing because they saw the percipient looking at them. They don't see you, but I think what ends up happening is after Raphael said it might have a little thing to do with us, she like locks down the place and sends like a virad or something through it, and you take 1 harm, and it like closes the window, right?
Yeah, just kind of shocks the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Which, that's going to be interesting because I think you're still talking to me as I'm on that chip.
Yeah, yeah. So I think at some point, the wires are going to retract, and then it's like, okay, now we slot you back into your Slack so that we can take you mobile because you've been very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the next thing that people want to do then with you guys? What's the next step?
I'd like to touch base with the Saturday team, who's kind of seen everything. Yeah.
How about we?
You've got to catch us first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how we should abstract that. Should it be like a risk, with the risk being you don't catch them first or something? Or is it more interesting that we do put you together and they just happen to arrive there before you guys are able to flee, or what? At the same time too, Raphael has some pretty fucking secret places in and out anyway though, as well.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, do they just want to run? Or are they looking for something else?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
We're well, I shouldn't say we, but Optic is interested in running down this lead. He wants to break this story as wide as he can. So he's probably heading to that tattoo parlor where the tattoo was removed, or he's going to track down Dante. Those are the 2 leads that he's got to move to next. I think the tattoo parlor is more interesting though, because it puts us more on the trail of whoever did this.
Yeah, I think that Raphael would normally not want to get involved in this stuff, but he feels like he's already been pulled in it, and the involvement of Dante is a pretty clear sign that he's tied to this somehow. So I think he'll go along with this sense of like, let's get this figured out so I can go back to my normal business. Before anyone draws any connections that I'm involved. So I think I would lead you out a secret passage if that's
okay. And number one, what does that look like? Because that's sweet. And number 2, do you want to save what you saw in that memory as sort of like us finding out who and what the killer actually is, or do you want to say now what happened?
I kind of like having it in my back pocket.
Okay.
I have like a few. I have some ideas, but I'm trying to decide between them, and I feel like as the play happens, one of them will stick. So I think that what this looks like is, even within the veil, there are these wide open spaces, and then the small corridors that lead you into these different rooms, and I can see things with the eye. I can see these passages that other people can't, even within the veil. So it looks like, like to Optic, it looks like I'm maybe like walking into walls that I shouldn't be able to. That I am maybe like it's like looks very glitch like I'm walking up when I'm really just staying in the same level, or you know, like something your graphics are not up to date on this.
It could be like perspective tricks too, right? Like as you're walking down a hallway, it looks like a wall on one side, but then as you get like close to where one of these tunnels are, you can kind of see that there's actually a door that was hidden there, or a passageway that was hidden.
Yeah, I like it's a lot of that, like House of Mirrors almost.
Yeah.
Like you can't even really track your way there because you're not sure.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
you're
like
seeing
you're like walking down a hallway, and then suddenly the camera pans and you're walking upside down, and like then suddenly you're walking towards the camera and like all that kind of stuff, right? Cool.
Yeah.
So where do you go? Where does the passage out lead to?
I think the one that I'm currently taking leads us out into just a busy market street somewhere high up in the city. I think it's almost like emerging from just a back alley near like some cafe or something. Like it's a very anonymous spot where I just sort of walk out and suddenly now I'm in the crush of humanity.
Cool. So what do we? I want to know this from everybody. What are people selling in this marketplace? What does it look like? What kind of tech is there? What kind of is it like? Is it did you go to the Nethers, like going to find this tattoo parlor and it's a market in the Nethers, or is it like a really low class market neighborhood kind of thing?
Well, I think we'd be heading towards the Nethers, but I think we emerge in a more low class market. I think there's a lot of like synthetic plants and obviously fake, you know, like a lot of the things that we saw as audience members down below, we see the cheap knockoff, clearly fake.
There could also be some of the illicit tech too, right? Like remnants of like stuff that's been scavenged off of trash heaps, like old cell phones or old like non-biodegradable materials.
Okay.
Sweet. Any other ideas?
I like that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I like the idea that there's food trucks. There's like a noodle truck kind of thing, and people are out there eating their protein and noodles and that kind of stuff.
But no veggies. They're not selling plants and fruits.
I bet you the food is like crickets and stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the protein part of it. Like ramen with crickets. Cool. What else, Farrell?
I like the idea of just you're walking by all these stalls and it's just chintzy, touristy, like he comes out and this is the low part, but this is like where some people come to slum it. And so like they've got like t-shirts like, I survived the ceiling or something like that.
Sweet. Okay, I think as you guys are making through this marketplace, which one of you, whoever hasn't rolled much, give me an analyze as you're going through, because there's something itching at the back of your mind as you're going through this place, and you're going quickly, like you're fleeing, right? But let's see if you pick up anything about this marketplace as well. Who hasn't?
Sounds like it'd be Optic. I've rolled a bit. So.
Sure.
Optic,
do you want to analyze? How are you feeling fleeing?
I am definitely going with scared here.
Oh, really? You're not joyful about this? That's weird. It is a thrill, though, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Like how on the beat are you, and what does that feel like for you, right? It's just the most interesting thing that's happened to you in a while as well, right? Like usually, especially if your other beat is posing as a statue. This is kind of like better, right?
Yeah. I'm just looking at this handy feeling wheel here, which is awesome, by the way. I really love that you have to think about how your character's feeling every time you do something.
Thank you. I like it too.
Yeah, I think it's more in the scared. It's more in like the confused, insecure, as opposed to like excited or playful or creative or aware.
That works too for when you're running through a marketplace. Like your eyes are
Yeah.
darting back and forth, and you're like freaking out and stuff, right? So hit me
Yep.
with that roll.
How'd I do? Hey.
Nice.
Boom, killed it. Should be more scared more often. Cool. So hit me with those questions.
Oh yeah, this was for analyze.
Analyze.
What if anything appears out of place?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think you see, Raphael, you're kind of aware of this at a like cultural level of what happens, but there is like errant signals that come out of your place that people tap, and then what they do is they distill those sort of like Minority Report visions that are not very like, it's like the riff-raff memories, right? And they distill it into a drug called silk that they inject into themselves. And I think I even have a picture of this somewhere on my image board. Let me see. My image board is vast. Essentially, it looks like, oh, now I can't find it, of course. Yeah, okay, I guess I can't find it, but it looks like that person's arm with those the veins, different color going through it, and they have like a retrofitted cybernetic in their arm that is a USB slot essentially, and they like slot that memory in it and like freebase the memory, right? So I think you put the connection between that memory and that one is like, oh shit, you know, street drug is what they use. What else do you want to know?
So it's out of place that they're using that street drug here?
Well, it's out of place that they would use that on Arista, right? Like,
oh, gotcha. Okay.
It was like obviously a weird place to find such a low drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's out of place, I think, just at all, because probably vagrancy and stuff like that is frowned upon, and drones will like shoot you or something.
I'm not sure if this is jumping too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think this might be for the next scene, but how is the person who had this tattoo removed vulnerable to me? Is that applicable in this scenario, or should I save that for later?
No, that's fine, because the person that you're looking for is in the marketplace right now looking for you.
How about, what's my enemy's preposition? What's my enemy's preposition?
Yeah, so you see that it's exactly like a movie, right? The audience is like, oh shit, that thing is like that thing, but then also there's danger right now. And we all we see is like the neck of a person where there's like a little scar where there might be the tiger pouncing tattoo, and they're coming towards you. Also, is this any person that I should know about from the PCs? Are you a killer? No? The killer is not a PC? You don't have to be, right? Cool. So I think it's still like it starts off a little ambiguous, and then we get a shot out, and I'm just going to grab an image so people can see it. Think of... It's a Pinterest link. What?
I was thinking that it might be Dante at this point. Like, he may be more directly involved than we thought.
Yeah, but the plot twist in this film is that it's not Dante.
What are we looking for on this board?
The link is just the picture for who you see in the market. Does it work? It's the top left person.
Okay. Top, yeah, because there's a lot of them, but that's...
Oh, okay,
all
yeah.
right.
Top
Design
left
number
person.
6.
Yeah, so they have the A5 green arm
Yep.
action thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you see them coming towards you, and their true position is like they were kind of military-esque shadowing behind you type deal, right?
Okay. How are they vulnerable to me?
They don't know that you've noticed. They think that you're still unawares, even like your behavior is still I'm fleeing and I'm out. And I think that is a good point to cut to. Are you guys maybe arriving in a spinner? A spinner is like a Blade Runner, those flying cars action. Because you have unlimited money, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So I think now's a good time where
Because you're going right for their place, and maybe you're coming through that marketplace, right?
well,
Like on top.
I think what's actually going on is that we were headed to Saturday, and on the way there found it's locked down.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, okay, so it's not there, that they're on to us, and we started looking at vids of the surrounding area to see if we could find anyone, find the location of anyone.
Maybe it might be another. It might be another opportunity for the denotation move, maybe, because Farrell hasn't gotten to roll very much. Is there a move that you could think of to locate them with your denotation stuff?
The Deno move is spending time in order to scrutinize something with the digital overlay and the hybrid reality you occupy. I think that kind of worked because you look down on it and it's like, oh, by the way, if you want a touristy good, look here, and we have here's the Yelp review for this thing. So there's definitely a digital overlay I can see popping up, and traffic is here, and do not go in this area. So I think I'm rolling with that, and I'm kind of mad at the moment. Like shit, if I'd been faster, if I'd been quicker, just if I'd just been more useful, I could have.
No, you're blaming yourself. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna go with that, and I'm mad. Survey says, a 7. Not bad, but not great. And so I got to tell you what my theory is in regards to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think my theory, what I'm looking for on them is I think my theory is that our good friend Optic here, witnessed the entire thing.
Okay.
He was actually there in some way, shape, or form, and just the entire thing was caught. And that's my theory at the moment. That's why they're after him.
Okay. And I think something interesting, it's on you guys to make it useful, is that you know that like if you piggybacked on his followers, you would definitely be able to locate where he's at, right?
Yeah.
They're always like, yo, you should do this, bro.
Yeah. Stop and try those crickets at that market cart.
Yeah, so assuming that you share that information, what would you do, Siobhan?
Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, he's somewhere in here. His followers are like, half of them are like, you should try the crickets. And the other half are like, you should release all the crickets.
That's awesome. It's a very good touch.
So I think that at that point, it's time to zero in on where, so they're in the market someplace, and we're going to set up our, in the market at an exit, trying to keep an eye for where they are so that we can move quickly.
Okay, cool.
I can broadcast our location here with what I'm going to do next, I think.
Oh, do it. Let's go live, son.
So, I don't know that I'm ready to go live yet.
Well, I think you have the facts, right? You identified the person.
Okay. I'm just thinking with them on me, I want to create a distraction before I go live. Or do I want to go live and then create a distraction?
I would go live and then let the percipient create a distraction, perhaps.
Okay. So I'm going to go live. and that is Curiosity of Millions. And I'm going to be joyful now, because now I'm like sticking it to these people and bringing the story to life.
Boom. Yeah, totally. That's how you that's how you get that Schwimmer money, right?
That's right. That's how I get free Oakleys.
Yeah.
Yay.
So what do you choose?
So on 7-9 I choose 2. What did I roll? Not that it's
You
gonna
rolled a
matter.
7.
Yeah,
You rolled
but
a
it's each dice for getting cred off of the stream, right?
Oh, you rolled a 3 and a 2.
Yeah. I'm going to go that my suppressor doesn't fail, so I maintain creative control without intervention.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna retain control of my body, feelings, and memories.
Okay, so it doesn't go viral for some reason. Probably because, let's say it's because there's a lockdown on this location already, right? Like you guys haven't got out of the block field, which is also a great reason why this killer would be on you right now. They're taking advantage of the fact that Raphael has locked down the area through his place, that there's no outgoing broadcasts. Well, there must be outgoing broadcasts, but it maybe only your...
It's filtered.
Yeah, it's filtered, or perhaps you're the only... Your technology is different. We already know that through cybernetics. Yep. So perhaps yours is the only thing that is getting out, right? And the only reason why it hasn't gone viral yet is because it's getting, like, you're just barely getting out of there, right?
Yep.
Cool.
I
need more bars.
What?
I was gonna say I have a thing. I don't know how much you have now in your head what happens, but
I'm whatever, and we can retcon stuff too, right?
Okay, so I think what happens when you're asking before is now we as the audience see while all this is happening and everyone is getting to the same spot and we keep seeing the shots of the person like behind us. The camera looks at Raphael and we see him remembering the memory that he found. And it's of what's the woman's name? The main person.
Arista.
Arista, yeah. Arista, or someone that looks like Arista, kind of, but much older and not as perfect. We sort of see from her perspective, and that there is a sort of there's an old woman in a like medical room still. I mean, and definitely in the past of what this currently takes place in, but maybe not our current time. It's still a feature of that. But this person is she's holding her hand, saying all these things. It's still kind of distorted and not quite clear all the way. But you get the sense that that Arista is feeling very guilty, and this person does not really want her there. And what happens is the person eventually closes their eyes, and doctors come up and remove one of these neural chips from her and sort of like walk away, and the memory sort of fades, and you see them plug in the chip, and then you see Raphael open his eyes. And then it cuts to Raphael, and the killer. Raphael is showing that memory to the killer, and the killer has like tears in his eyes and like gets angry, and then it cuts back to the main scene.
Oh shit! You're an asshole. Plot twist.
I think this is when Raphael pulls his pistol behind Optic.
Oh,
and
no!
It's like wouldn't move anymore.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see. I think the Precipient would see this, perhaps.
So let's talk about that for a second. I want to make sure I fully understand the intention. So what just happened was the camera saw that you had experienced a memory and that you are an old an old friend of, or someone in Arista's past, and you were slacked into another body and opened your eyes, but you showed this to the killer, which precipitated the killing?
The implication that I had is that some of my people that come to here a lot, like me, get the sense where they can't distinguish what memories are theirs and what aren't. So it's almost like I'm pushing off the actual killing onto them, so they think it was them that had the memory. Okay, if that makes sense. So I thought that would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so you use someone from your club and convince them that no, that's their memory, not yours.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I think someone asked for, or someone said that it would be good to have a distraction. And I think I have something in mind for that.
I think Object needs a distraction.
Yeah, I would escalate from distraction maybe to 2 in the head, 1 in the chest.
Yeah.
So I think the way this looks on the screen is basically Siobhan basically is they're still in the spinner, kind of, ready to bolt wherever something happens, so they have quick movement. And I think that what happens is when we see the gun come out, I think you see kind of a heads-up display appear, looking through Siobhan's eyes, and you see, weapon imminent, and Siobhan quickly hits a couple of buttons, which one of them opens the passenger door, and I think she says, she kind of pushes Plato out and says, you're safer here, and then, flips the spinner so that basically it literally starts spinning in midair, kind of out of control.
Oh, nice.
And kind of at the apex of the arc, the driver's side door, she kind of pops out, strikes a pose, and then flips down as the spinner kind of lands in the area of vicinity where where the action's going down, sort of almost as if it's blocking or something like that.
Sure.
I don't think I can actually hit anybody with it, but I think that's the move that I want to do. And the move, I'm going to use tools at hand.
Okay.
So that's modifying something for a different purpose than it was designed, and I have the capability to do so.
Sweet.
Love it.
Yep. So let me roll that. I am feeling mad because this is basically, someone I'm looking for just, everything just kind of went down all of a sudden, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but these guys are getting in my way of finding out the truth.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
they are truth withholders.
It's good that I did that. I got a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that say then?
That is, it will work, but only once, and there's a cost or complication. It only had to work once.
Okay. The complication might. So, are you trying to weaponize this vehicle to hit somebody?
I'm trying to. Yeah. Yes. That's good.
Are you trying to hit the killer with the vehicle?
I'm trying to actually. Since I don't really know what's going on, I don't really know who the killer is. I don't know who the guy who pulled the gun is. I don't know what all's going on. I think what I'm trying to use is use the vehicle as a wall, as a let's separate everybody out and figure things out.
Awesome. Okay, so that totally works. It hits, and what you don't see coming, though, I think, is that there is a small electrical fire that is started as Plato is still in there, and I held a failure at some point, and I'm using that to say that this whole situation is created for Plato, where there's a fire starting, and the futuristic harness is still really shitty, and you're trying to get out of it. They have not fixed that in the future.
Oh my god. Oof.
So let me just pull the tables, see what everyone's next actions are going to be. So Plato, what are you going to do?
There's this fire going on, right?
Yeah, it's a small electrical problem,
Okay. I'm trying to think like the immediate move is to try to get out of danger.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it's just a small electrical fire at the moment, right?
Yeah, well, actually, we only have 5 minutes left. Do people have an extra 10 minutes to go over?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, let's play out this scene as quickly as we can then. Okay, so what do you do, Plato?
Well, one of my weapons is actually, thankfully, a knife.
Oh, so there you go.
I'm pulling out the knives and I'm like shredding the harness just to get the hell out.
Okay, so, let's say that happens. You shred it. You like clumsily topple out of the spinner. What's next?
Now, where did this spinner come down? Is it like separating everyone? Is it block them from moving forward, back? Where in the scene? Like you see Plato pop out, and I look in the scene and I like see all the main players now. Like everyone's arrayed. Where am I in comparison?
It sounded to me kind of like it was blocking the end of this marketplace, which is sort of like a narrow alley. Yeah, and you're kind of like at the end of it, but it's not so long that you can't see what is happening. You can see the killer coming up. You can see, like, at the same time that you plop on the ground, let's say, you see Raphael draw the pistol, hold it to the person. You see the killer coming. You see the percipient maybe darting towards this.
What I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to like use my implement, one of my stickers, and just like drop the veil all around us. Like that's gonna disorient the shit out of everyone. Hopefully long enough for us to diffuse the situation.
No, do it up.
We'll all just be neurochips on a desk somewhere.
Yeah, this is all a training exercise. You guys did pretty okay.
So I'm not sure if that's expose or if there's a different move that would work better. Oh no, there's lift the veil.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So
by way of your sticker action.
Yeah. And I'm kind of sad about this because, you know, we were a team and you ditched me.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to be helpful and you didn't even let me try. So
I love it. 8. So let's see. You get well, it's supposed to be an impression, but you're using it to subvert the veil, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that the complication is that you know that time is a factor.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything, all the adverts drop. All the people like walking around in the gorilla avatars and all that kind of stuff. They're just like normal people again.
Yeah.
And then we cut to who wants to go next? In what order do you guys think it would be interesting?
I want to see the percipient destroy somebody personally.
Sweet. So I think I'll go next. I think what this looks like is the percipient kind of steps out from around the hulking, mess of the spinner, what's left of the spinner, and has 2 guns. Yeah. And I think I've got neuroflechette handguns. Yeah. And I just open up, and I'm shooting indiscriminately everyone. These called stun harm, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just dropping people, right? Because drop them, then we'll sort it out. And that's what it looks like. It's just stepping out and...
Okay, well, are you aiming for the person with the gun, though?
Yeah, I'm aiming for anyone who has aggressive movements. So this is the person with the gun. This is the person... I think you said that the killer was running towards us.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time, the crowd's starting to kind of panic a little bit. And if they start to run, I think I drop any of those that I can get a hold of, anything like that. Because it's like, nope, we're going to sort all this shit out. Nobody get away.
Okay. Are you using neurochemistry?
Yeah, that's actually a good one. It would be neurochemistry. Mental conditioning allows me to react and think faster than is normally possible. In a fight situation, once per session, I can declare a die roll of 10+, as long as I do so before. And that would be, is it neutralize?
Let's see. Let's say it's. Are you trying? You're not inflicting harm because that would be like one person. I think more like you're succeeding at a risky situation, probably.
Risk. Okay.
Yeah. And so you get a. What do you feel when you do it?
Actually, so what makes more sense to me as far as the story is that's what I'm doing. Is I'm going through all of that, and anyone who wants to avoid that would need to risk whether or not they could get out of it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So do you?
It doesn't feel right to just drop people.
Sure.
I think I'd like to use a move here called Paranoid Enough.
Oh, nice.
Once per session, when you'd be surprised by something, you can tell the MC how you were not.
Okay.
The MC also explain why.
Awesome.
So I knew that a Percy was involved here. And then when I see the spinner like crash, I'm instantly in full on like they are going to be attacking. They're going to be, you know, finding. So I think what I do is I just drop to the ground as if I've already been stunned.
Oh, clever.
The purpose is to divert, is to like make everyone think that just that that I am not involved at all, and have them go target the actual killer.
Sweet. Okay, roll that then. Yeah. And how are you feeling?
Let's see. Well, so what would I? It just says once per session, you can tell them how you're not.
Yeah, so you won't have to risk in order to do this. You can just roll normally for divert, and we'll see how well that.
Okay, cool. Then I'm going to say at this moment I am. I think I'm mad because I had this carefully concocted plan, probably for decades, if not centuries, and it's just fallen apart because this guy was incompetent.
Very nice.
Yeah. So
don't forget the meddling kids.
Yeah. And I got a 6.
Roll with advantage because you have a killer at your back.
That's true.
Seems pretty legit.
All right. So that's I rolled a 6, so it's a 10.
Also, I think this person who is the killer is. If we had more time, Steve, I would have tied it to also being a Percy, like probably some sort of rival or whatever, right? So.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So you got a 10. What are your options? I think I know what one of them is.
to divert. It's gonna be you're able to slip away. But I also they become confused or flustered. Yeah. And your actions create an opportunity for you or someone else.
The killer?
Yeah.
Oh no!
What's that?
This does not bode well.
Yeah. Okay, so give me the scene of give me the fiction of how that works.
Yeah, so I think as soon as all this happens and I just straight up drop to the ground as other people are being stunned and yelling, and in the confusion I kind of roll under one of these stalls, kind of, so I'm just now out of the way, I guess, without being seen. Cool. And yeah, so I think that's kind of how.
And in their confusion, the killer's able to the killer's assassins creating their way through all these people and shit, right?
Yeah, and cool. Now for the Percy and everyone else, it's this person who is clearly walking towards us is definitely the bad guy, and not whoever that old man was that rolled away.
Yeah, no, yeah, almost is out. Cool. So, all right. Well, that leaves one person. What are you doing? Optic.
Yeah.
Guy's suddenly just gone, and there's a killer coming right for you, and also you might get shot by electric dart.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I need to do something here as my last ditch move.
Yeah. Do you have something?
So I've already.
Oh, don't forget the veil is flickering on and off at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to boost my signal on my outgoing stream to try to break through that sinister dastardly Raphael's blocking signal.
Wow.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, would that be a risk or would it be lift the veil?
Let's do risk. let's say that you can already do that. The risk is not getting tagged by the percipient just fucking wasting people here.
Yeah.
The good news is you probably won't die, but when the killer gets you,
Yeah.
you'll probably die.
Yeah, this is the last moment here.
Siobhan coming.
Dice.
And how are you feeling as the world bears down on you?
I'm gonna keep going with scared here. Actually,
And it's kind of interesting too, though, right? Because even if you were to fail and this person kills you, you would probably be the most famous person ever, right? Because someone's experiencing death through you.
Going with joyful. Oh my god.
Ooh.
I guess I should have ideas. So,
Snake eyes.
You boost the signal, right? And I think it.
I think I just put myself dead to rights by doing it, probably.
Yeah, like I think it takes a little bit of time. You're like frantically doing this thing, and then Siobhan misconstrues this as an aggressive thing, right? And suddenly you get tagged and you just go down, but you're still broadcasting what you see as the killer is coming towards you. What I want to give Plato another action and also Siobhan, and then we'll probably be done. So what do you do, Plato?
So I'm seeing the situation. The guy that we've been looking for, the guy that has the answers we need, is on his knees, and he's about to get murdered.
Yes.
And
also, there's like it's viral now too.
yeah, it's going live. And I think at this point, I am just like, so to confirm, the knives I have are disrupting.
Mm-hmm.
And that tag, where is that tag?
It basically like is for taking out the veil. Like it'll mess them up.
Okay.
But it also is a knife.
Yeah. What I'm hoping is to like basically jack this, like just stab this guy well enough that it like he realizes that, wait, this isn't my memory or something. Like I want to the killer.
Oh, okay.
Because his entire desire is fueled by this idea that this false memory is actually his, right?
Okay. So are you hacking his neurochip?
Yes, because I'm about getting to the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So are you decentralizing that memory and removing it? Would that make sense?
Does he know that though? Does he?
No, I don't know. What would I know in this case? I know this guy's coming, and I kind of want to scramble him.
Yeah, maybe let's do you hacking him, and if you find that information, that's you quickly being like deleted or send it away or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say I'm pretty scared on this at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, because it's like, oh shit, come on, this has got to work. This has got to work.
Let's say this is lifting the veil.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What'd you get?
Oh, it is a 10.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I did that just because you have a move mess with the best, which is you can change any failure to a 7 and 9 as well. So I had you covered. So okay, so yeah, give me the fiction. You hack this guy, you find this memory, right?
Yeah, and it's just, and like all these memories, the thing, like all of them have like this little exadata, because like New Life has to tag and sort all these things, and it has like it has some little origin point that like is very much if you looked at it, it's like, wait a second, this does not match up.
Mm.
And it's like, wait, this guy hasn't been online. This guy's only been online for the past 5 years. This is from 10 years ago. And just, no, pull that out.
So where do you put it, or do you just delete it?
I think I put it in myself. Like I just move like Control C, Control V, copy into my data.
Oh, okay, cool. So I think the killer obviously like hesitates as he's stumbling forward.
Mhm.
I want to know is Siobhan. I don't know. Like this might be. I find it interesting that perhaps Siobhan isn't aware of this and would still take this person out right when they're possibly finding out the truth. What do you think, Siobhan?
I think I wouldn't have any problem trying to drop both the killer and Plato 1 because I have no idea. You know, all I did is I saw Plato 1 go after this guy. For all I know, from my perspective, this guy could be a source of information, and Plato 1 could be the killer.
Okay, so I think Plato 1 is down. You know that this guy isn't going to get taken out by these kind of darts, though. Like, you see
okay.
cybernetics on his thing, right? He's insulated. He's probably armored.
I see.
This is probably going to require some, like, CQC or something else like that.
Okay, so in that case, with a threat assessment like that, I wouldn't bother with the darts going after this guy. This guy is obviously a threat. And I think this would be me doing one of those flying wire kind of leaps, jumping, and the blades extend and start to fight this guy, you know, to hold him off from wherever he is going.
Okay, let's neutralize it. And then I like the idea of Plato's action taking place during this fight, even.
Yeah.
Yes.
And neutralized, this is going to be, again, mad.
And I think you also know this person too, if that helps.
Ooh.
Like this is a member of a squad, or like they're also a Percy, right? But they don't have your integrity, right? Like they're clearly a mercenary or something, as far as you know.
Obviously, because you know they're out here doing this kind of job.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I am mad, and that's a neutralize, and that is a 10.
Bam! What do you choose? And how much damage does this thing?
The swords are 2. 2 harm.
Okay. And so what are your options?
I get 3, so it would be
you can also choose all 3 of them inflict harm if you wanted as well.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be primarily, I still don't know what's going on. This is going to be primarily to force a change of location, to get him out of the way, and probably impress, dismay, or frighten him. So basically, this is impressing that he is out of his league, and shift this away from his target location.
Okay, so
I like the way that actually with the narration we've already done so far, I like that this is with Plato 1's kind of hacking. This is sort of not just taking him out of the physical location. This is taking him out of this kind of world. The hacking is what actually took him out and put him in another space.
Okay, so you kind of like kick him and we see like his avatar go flying or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like out of his body. Dope. That's pretty cool. Okay, so it sounds like he's pretty immobilized then, and then the hack takes place. And then we can probably epilogue. If his avatar is out of his body and then it gets hacked, I think that action happens, and he probably like he's a very heavy individual because he's heavily cybernetic. You kick him, he goes flying into the side of like the marketplace or whatever. And then we know that his avatar gets kicked out as well because his body hits that, and we get a side shot. And then the avatar goes flying like through the building as well, right? And then the avatar kind of like glows in gold or something like that and gets hacked. And he essentially like just starts crying and gets immobilized and is sort of like rocking back and forth. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Cool. All right, and that, I guess that is the end credits. Unless you guys, does anyone have a epilogue scene that they have in mind for the end?
Well, it sounds like to me that does this guy take the fall? Is the case closed, or is everyone out looking for Raphael? I'm cool with either one. I
think that after, well, Farrell, you can let me know, but I think you probably impress upon people that this guy's been implanted or whatever, right?
Yeah, because my entire thing was I was after the cold hard truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it eventually gets tracked down.
Right. So Raphael, sir, you are being hunted.
Yeah, I think maybe the last shot is me the shop is empty and Amina's kind of like waiting for me to come back and I never do, and you see me like pull up the peacoat and just like fade into the shadows of the crowd while like sirens flare or whatever.
How does Siobhan feel about a Percy being manipulated like this?
I don't think. I mean, it's something that's been happening for time immemorial, right? Warriors have been corrupted or turned into mercenaries. It's something that happens all the time. But I think, so I have an idea for a scene at the very end, kind of like the credits roll and then there's a scene.
Oh yeah, I think this Marvel movie time.
Yeah. I think this is a scene with Arista where basically Siobhan, has reported everything, and there's this bundle of data that Arista's looking through, and sees that we captured the killer, but not the instigator. And I think Arista kind of says, sorry, and that's whenever the neurochip comes out and goes into storage, and you see Siobhan kind of crumple.
Okay. Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
That guy's getting away.
Anyone else have a thing?
My only one is that people are now wearing T-shirts that say like "In Memoriam" for Optic.
Oh, you
like
did?
He's become like an internet meme. Oh, I thought I was capped out, or was I just?
You were stunned.
Yeah, you were just stunned. If Siobhan had failed, you'd definitely be dead.
Then they're still wearing the "In Memoriam" T-shirts, but it's like just because they experienced this like near-death experience.
Yeah, you thought
through Optic's eyes.
Yeah, you thought you were dying, so they thought they were dying.
Yeah. So he's become like an internet meme basically, and it's even more popular. But now he's got to like get almost killed to try to top his popularity. So it's really not a great thing.
Yeah. And what about Plato?
I think it's like I think we like cut and it's some very obvious and time has passed. Raphael is setting himself back up, and we see him like walking along, and the veil drops for a moment just to show like all the people in the background that are working on this building, doing the all the faceless.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them bumps into him. He doesn't even notice it because he's got the grand visions. But there's a sticker on his arm, and the face turns, and it's Plato.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then the veil goes up, and Plato disappears. But there's lots of insinuation, and then it ends.
Lots of insinuation.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I like it.
Great. Sweet. Thanks a lot, guys.
No, thank you.
This was
that was great.
Thanks to everyone. This has been wonderful. It is worth staying up this late for. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying up, everyone. For me, it's only like midnight, so if you're on the East Coast, this is pretty rough, I think.
Yeah, it's 2:17 a.m. and I have a game at 8. So I'm gonna go try to get some sleep. But,
okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. It's great playing with you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
It has been a blast.
Yeah.
Good night.
If anyone has any feedback, let me know. Maybe just if everyone is leaving right now, maybe just text me or something. Then I can end the broadcast.
I'll send something.
Okay,
All right,
it's
thanks,
late.
Guys. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to stop it now and see you later.
Okay.